Oh, are we? You're gonna pause it?
Just wanted to make sure anybody was on.
Oh.
I'll just.
There it is.
It's behind your AI companion.
Yeah, okay, do I close?
No, up there. Oh, it just showed you another thing.
Great.
Yep.
Whenever you are. All right, tonight's Town of Oregon board meeting will come to order, and Jennifer, if you would please call roll.
Paul Walzer.
Here.
Lori Fitzgerald here. Arlen Kai.
Here.
Steve Jernigan.
Here.
And then Tim LeBron is excused absence, and then Stephanie Gold and Jennifer Hansen are also present.
Thank you. Item 3 is approval of minutes from last month, March 10th. Page 3, what's located. Any corrections or comments? Hearing none. Steve, anything? And without objection, the March 10th minutes are approved. Thank you. And on to page 8 for the financial report, loan update and payment vouchers. Any concerns about those? And the packet is maybe all the way around. I'm not sure.
Pretty cool.
I did add that small little second packet that Steve has. That's just not in the bigger packet. With the six that.
The 6 check.
Yeah, the 6 checks that came in between the last week and tonight.
Does it look good to everyone? No, without objection, then the financial report, loan update and payment vouchers are approved. Thank you. 4A is an update on the payment bill invoice, and which should be good, right?
We should be good. I contacted them and they have responded to the email that it is, so they're getting their paperwork caught up to your agreement.
Okay, that sounds good. I would still like to leave it on the agenda for next month, though, Jennifer,
Okay,
just
sure.
so we can make sure we check it off when we get a $0 invoice. All right, item 5, public comment. Are you here for public comment? Are you here for a particular item? Pardon me?
He's here for the petition.
Oh, okay, perfect. Which would be. And 6. Discussion possible action on the rezone for Amber.
Yes, and the plan commission recommended approval with an extensive number of conditions for the CUP, and
It's on page 16.
Nope.
The rezone petition.
We're not doing CUP yet.
and I'm assuming that are you here to talk on that?
Here to answer questions if you have any. That's all.
Okay. Any questions of the board? I think it's been beat around
Yes.
quite thoroughly.
And the deed restriction document that you have in your packet is the updated document with the restrictions that
Mission is.
we added. Mhm.
Okay.
And everybody's,
So that's
I
up.
have, she's.
Pretty thorough discussion at the plan commission.
Okay. Do you have a motion? then?
I would make a motion that we, let's see. Approve the rezoning. The land rezone petition DCPREZ 2026 dash 12256. To be changing from LC to GC. Enable reconstruction of an existing building, or removal and replacement of an existing building. And the conditions are on page 16 of the packet.
Okay, do you hear a second?
Second,
More seconds, any other discussion? Steve, no? No, I'll shake it ahead.
No, I'm just, sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so hearing no other discussion, like the vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. All set?
Thank you.
See you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for the work you did.
You're very welcome. We'll see you soon.
Next week.
Okay, so item 7, Jesse Strabauer is not here and not connected as far as we know. He said he wasn't going to be connected. So
No, I talked to him this afternoon and I mentioned to him that we have not heard back from our attorney. So I said, you know, there's just not gonna be any kind of decision tonight. There's nothing that we can do, that we've reached out to him, that we've just, so the board is not having any guidance on what to do today. And I don't know exactly where he's coming from, but and he said for me to make that trip down there to not have any kind of
Yeah,
decision,
that's
which
right.
really wouldn't make sense. And I said, our board meeting is gonna have to go kind of fast tonight because we have an annual meeting at 6. So he just was like, I don't really want to make that trip if you haven't had some guidance. And I said, okay. So I did said to him that we were hoping to open road bids on Monday, May 11th at 9 a.m. And that if we had something at that time, like if we got an attorney and we had some, you know, we would potentially let him know and could maybe meet with him then. But if that was, and so he was pleased with that.
Okay.
So,
And he doesn't even have to be here in person when we actually have, it'd be easier to talk with him in person, but he doesn't have to make it, I don't know how long the trip is, but he doesn't have to make a long trip to get here.
and I said that.
So, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I said if he wanted to do it at night, we have a board meeting the next Tuesday night, so. So I guess it just depends on what
Yeah,
happens with an attorney.
yeah, and let's let that attorney situation evolve for maybe a week or so, and then
Okay.
have a discussion about. I think we'll hear back something, but I don't know what and whether it'd be acceptable, so we'll have a plan, like a week out, let's say. Okay, anything else on that one at all? Can I ask, Jennifer, the ATC easement, was that, let's not talk about it now, actually, but that'll be attorney discussion.
I think so.
Yeah, okay, let's keep going then. So item 8, and this is something that is relatively new, page 60 is what I got.
Yeah, so I happened to just catch in the email that the Wisconsin Farms Association was asking us. So it starts on page 60. It's a Just Fix It campaign. And so with that, they were asking for boards to pass this resolution. And then with that resolution, be providing that.
And this is a Towns Association campaign, so I
yes.
don't know,
Wisconsin Towns Association is what it looks like to me.
yeah, definitely. I don't know how effective they've been in the past. I just don't know the history behind, because they've done this before, apparently. I just don't know how widespread the adoption was by towns, just as far as doing resolutions, if they did that before. So I don't think there's any harm in it, but I also just don't know
Yeah, this was,
if it's incredibly
this resolution was presented at the WTA regional meeting.
okay.
That Evelyn and I went to.
Okay.
It's in the little way it is. And there's also, along with it, there is an opportunity to meet in, I think it's Janesville, for a little meet and greet with some state legislators. And it's something that I thought about putting on the road and traffic safety agenda, but it never got there. It was like a field trip. It was a breakfast meeting, and I don't think it was more than an hour. It would involve driving over to Janesville, but I think they're gonna kind of kick this off with this, I think, as I remember, it was presented as kind of a have some breakfast and talk to some state legislators about, and it's basically, as I remember, it's, it's just trying to figure out ways to boost our budgets for road work,
Right.
because we're, it's like everything else that we do with the state having limits on how much property tax base we can have, or whatever, how to put it. Anyway, I imagine that signing it would be a pretty painless thing for us to do.
Right.
I don't, and I do understand your questioning, how worthwhile would this be? But I do feel from trying to attend some of those WTA meetings that they really do work a lot for us. They do a lot of our work for us. And it certainly would be in our best interest to probably go ahead and pass the resolution.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Others have. I don't have any strong objection to it. I just.
You just wondered what it was about.
Is there a deadline on this? Cause
It has to be passed by the end of this month. And then the meeting that I'm sure I could look it up. I think it's supposed to be early next month, like the first week in May on a weekday. There's more information, but you can do the resolution without going to the gathering.
Right, and there doesn't seem to be any commitment.
No.
We're just signing, saying, hey, we're
Yeah.
advocating for a piece of the budget
And it
that we're
says,
not getting.
and it even says here, resolutions adopted after April remain extremely valuable and will continue to strengthen this effort. We have stabilized the system. Now we must secure sustainable funding so Wisconsin's transportation network can improve, not decline again. So that's kind of the spirit of it.
If we're gonna do it, I'd rather not put it off. Since there's
Right.
sort of from the, let's touch it once and get on with our lives.
It says you adopt the linked resolution. I guess you just click on it. And then you would send a copy to your state senator, state representative, and the governor, and another one to a Wisconsin towns. So it seems like that's something we could maybe do on Thursday morning when I come.
Well, no, I have it here. It's already here.
62,
Yeah,
63.
I already have it. I clicked the link and I already put it into our, so it's all ready for you guys to pass.
Okay,
Back.
I really think it couldn't possibly hurt.
No, I don't think it would either.
Yeah,
We're looking for a motion then to approve the resolution. Approve and pass the resolution.
I move that we approve and pass the resolution from WTA regarding a comprehensive and sustainable transportation funding solution.
For the resolution number also, and then.
Resolution number 022026.
Okay, we're looking for a second.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes, thank you. Okay. So we're into the report section, and Tim sent an email about the OFED park business. I think it's informational. I don't think there's anything to act on there. Road traffic safety, folks.
If you have the. Over here.
The minutes on page 28.
Oh, I didn't. Is it in here?
It's on page 28.
I have page, 66.
66.
66. I'm sorry.
Numbers.
Yeah, this is why when we get the new software, we're gonna be able to number
It's
better
way in the
than
back.
the way that.
Way in the back.
currently numbered.
I don't have it in the back.
66. Don't have 66?
Here, you want mine?
You take mine.
Uh-oh.
It's back here someplace. There's
Page
there's 2
66.
numbers on there.
Yeah, 66.
First.
Looks like,
Right, I gave them the wrong one.
those yellow on the bottom, looks just like this. You got it right there.
Okay, there it is. Okay, that's the minutes.
Is that what you wanted?
No, that's the minutes.
Okay.
I sent the,
That's in the annual meeting.
it's at the meeting.
Yeah, the annual meeting packet.
Well, this is the minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the minutes are 66.
There are some things
We have
that
to correct something in minutes, so do you want that to be done at the next road and traffic meeting?
well, Well, that's officially where it should be, but there will be which roads are going to be
Yeah, okay.
on there.
Okay.
Thank you.
No,
There we go, thank you.
no.
These aren't getting stapled all the way through. So
Oh.
be very careful. This is, you get stapled all the way.
I think I'll loosen them. That's.
Yeah, just, yeah, it's partially not, all the way through, so you're gonna loosen it.
Okay.
I mean, this is a minor year, we're gonna have the seal coating. It has the, is this what our engineer has taken a look at?
Yes, that's, okay, that, here, right, this is what the engineer is gonna look at.
He's going to look at?
Yeah, this is what he's looking at, and Abel and I talked to Greg together this morning, and, he was talking about, where, how we could bid it is, he's gonna give us some examples of like, you could do it where you have your roads, and then he's like, instead of just like putting a lot out there, is you can maybe designate some as alternate. So if you had like 4 roads and then say you wanted Hillcrest, that could be an alternate. So anyways, he had some ideas and he was gonna give us
Okay,
some things.
how to do the any and all.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna give us some, so we talked to
Okay,
him. this
so
morning.
those are standard language things too.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, hopefully we'll have that
by Thursday.
ready to rock and roll and get out. What is,
And
you're
just,
looking to the plan through 31. This is the minor year, so we're doing mostly seal coating, patching, repairing, pothole stuff next year, and also more striping. Next year is a major one, and this is where we don't know, there's some things we don't know. And that's in red, it's replacing the culverts on Lincoln in Storytown. Will we get the grants for that or not? Things are being applied for, but we don't know yet. They are at 10 ton. Grain trucks are more like 60 to 80 tons, up to 100 tons. When they given the exemption to go over, they're supposed to be 40,
Not that heavy.
not that heavy. So 60, it would be something that would be a little more typical, 40 cargo, 20 for truck. So the bridges are a wild card in here, which is, but in there, we were looking at the major work, something we added. If you're looking at in 2027, the major thing, a little justification or clarification as to what it is, why we're doing it. The Bellbrook Road, that little section is heavily shaded and it holds too much moisture and it blows apart when it freezes and thaws. Same thing, road corners. The center is this one, Abel has been looking at and saying that the center is solid. Take care of the edges, so wedging. Instead of pulverizing, we're doing it for 1/3 the cost of doing the wedging. So that's at 1/3 the cost of pulverizing and doing over. Same thing, Frenchtown, that we gotta start from scratch. That is in horrible shape. And again, it's 100% in the shade, wet. And then Judd Road has been on our hit list for some time, but it too has more solidity in the middle. And let's go for the edges at 1/3 the cost. So that's what's there, and you see this is projecting out. Tipperary has been on the list for a long time, and that's actually where we have our LRIP or TRIP funds. LRIP or TRIP?
but they're kind of the same thing, local road improvement. So, but I think that what those, so Sue had started moving those funds to Frenchtown.
Yes,
So I think that's what the plan was, is to move them to Frenchtown.
I don't think we've got it accepted yet.
No, but I talked to Jeremy. And
Yeah.
I talked to him again today because originally we thought we might move, she was getting plans to move that to this year.
Okay,
And I talked to him and I said, hey, we're not doing them this year. Can we move it to next year? And he said, yes, that's fine. So not that it's been approved because it has to get state approval, but yes, we can move the funds to Frenchtown for next year.
okay, and if that doesn't
So-
work, we're back on Tipperary, which is where it was fought for in the first place.
So I think she just had done all that work for it, so.
Okay. So,
Can I go back to Judd Road for just a sec?
Yes.
Is Telemontos, have they bought into doing a project with us, or are we just gonna do our section of it?
no, we don't have a, sign on the dotted line.
Okay,
But it is, the discussions have started. And in principle, I think they're on board,
Mhm.
just need their resolution to do this, so we've got to follow up on it and get it done
okay.
for next year.
I just want to be clear so that Sue and I worked on this together. It's going to be two separate projects. We'll have our section and they will have their section.
Okay.
So it'll be two separate bid process, two separate reimbursement processes, two separate, so we'll have to time our bids.
To do it the
Dude.
same.
Yes.
Same
Yeah.
year, same season?
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
season.
So there was two ways you could work it. We could have been the principal and then they would have owed us, like we would have billed Montrose for their portion.
Right.
But the decision was made to do it separately, so.
Okay.
But the idea being they still might realize some efficiencies if they have the same contractor apparently.
I think that would be the idea of trying to bid it at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there will be some
and it
kind
would
of,
be silly to not, to do our half and have their half neglected. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
it's all gonna be a better product if you have it done at the same time.
Yeah, we did the separate, we had separate contracts on Alpine with the town of Brooklyn.
yeah,
That was separate contracts there.
And with the village too, didn't we have something separate with them? Or maybe we just paid a little bit for out here?
No, that was reimbursing.
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I should
Yes,
say,
that would be,
It was like-
two separate things, so it'd be like, we could have done either one of those.
right,
Village would have been reimbursement, so we could have done that with Montrose or Brooklyn. Separate.
okay. Looking
so
good. Looks good.
this is, say, moving forward and it is, depending on what happens with the culverts, something we shift around to be filling that into, keeping it a major project here.
And one of the things I want to just add as an observation, that this plan is like a moving target for us and I think we kind of struggle with it, but it's all contingent on, you can only plan so much,
Mhm.
and then you find out that you have to do some emergency thing or something, so that's why we have the red parts and
Yep.
the question marks
Yeah.
and things kind of get moved back and forth sometimes from year to year. It's not really set in stone and that's another.
But I think that this and the work that Sue did using the Paisley ratings and also projecting out
The it's like
into
an
the future,
inventory,
I mean,
yeah.
that's a more complicated, more comprehensive on all roads and trying to have these,
But we're still sort of starting to get it under control. you
Yes.
know?
Right,
So that's
Right.
why there end up being these questions of why is this road this time? And, why did we change that deadline to another year? And it's a bit of a challenge
Right.
to communicate that.
well, I think it's not unusual to expect the very near future to be much more accurate than 5 years in the
Yes.
future. That's just a given, it's gonna be like that. But, first month, 6 months, whatever, rest of 2026, I think we've got a handle on
Yeah,
that.
we do. We
So I
definitely,
think that's
Yeah.
that's totally normal.
yeah.
but it's still going to be that cycle
yeah,
Small year,
Yeah.
small year, big
Yeah.
year, so we can
and.
get, have control of the
with-
financing.
Tweaking as needed
Mhm,
with the capital A and a capital N.
mhm.
Yeah.
And so, and then Frenchtown culverts were put in last week Thursday,
Okay.
so that was
Oh,
done.
okay.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Oh, thank
that-
you.
Yeah,
That's
Sorry.
good to know.
Judd Road culverts, I don't know if those would be in the,
Wait,
in
so
the future
which-
as
the,
well.
the Rome Corners Road,
the Frenchtown ones. The
Frenchtown.
Frenchtown culverts were put in last week Thursday.
okay,
So I guess then the Rome Corners or Judd would probably be the next one, so,
okay. That'd be a good thing to comment on too.
yeah, but
For the time.
Frenchtown were put on
So it's in the last week?
Thursday, yeah, yeah, yeah,
But that's French Garden.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Anything else on the plan? We'll move on to the 10B.
That was just-
Road bid paperwork.
That was just this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the highlights are the edits from.
Well, that was just the parts that I had kind of highlighted for him to look at, but
Okay,
he'll look at it, he
Got
said,
it.
so he'll get it to me by Thursday, which is the deadline for the paper. So then we'd still be on target to have that Monday bid opening. It would just not give us that buffer week, but we'd still be on target.
right.
So
And these, the highlights are based on Greg.
I think it was just based on when we met together as a group, just like, hey, is this right? Are we okay? Like, do we need the performance bond? And then Greg asked something about certificate of insurance and both.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, and so he was going into a little bit more detail that Abel and I looked at each other on the phone this morning. And so he said he'd provide some
Oh,
things for us. So we just said, okay.
okay. Super.
So I'll probably send that out and if you guys can just be on your email
But there's,
so that.
Thursday.
Yeah, hopefully before
Okay.
it's coming up, so then we can just get that squared away.
Okay,
okay, do we need to be in communication on Thursday?
Hopefully, or before then, hopefully, yeah. Are you gone?
I am up in Appleton,
Okay,
so I can,
okay,
if I just know when to call in.
yeah, we'll try and call you or text you or something and
Okay.
let you know.
Do that and we'll
Okay.
get a time for,
Okay,
okay, so. How are we doing on time? Oh, plenty of time. Item 11 then is the torque info and.
Yeah, it's just not much to report. They're getting busier with the brush season started being open till 3 every Saturday at the beginning of April. And just wanted to remind the board that we're still following those DNR regulations and calling for a burn permit every morning that we think we can burn.
Mhm.
And there's some movement on that white tin shed. It's gonna be set aside as a tire storage.
Oh. Okay,
And they're also harvesting with Abel's help some leftover tin from the bashed in salt shed
oh,
door that they can use to reinforce this tin structure. So they're recycling that part of the old office, and that's what their plan is, which is good because we do need a decent place for the used tires.
well, that, yeah, the place
Mhm,
that currently is too small, but it's also a pit. It's like a
mhm.
gasoline
Yeah, yeah,
containment,
yeah.
which is a devil of a thing,
Yeah.
throwing tires
Yeah,
out
this would
of.
be a better setup. So that's all to report there.
okay,
They have been using their new trailer for shelter from the elements, and they used it a lot on Saturday. So they're
oh, good.
pretty happy with it.
Good,
So
good.
Good.
passing that on to Arlen.
That's it.
When they call, when they wanna do a burn,
Yeah.
do they have to talk to a person or is it? like
Oh,
a
they
key, like,
can.
key it in?
They can, but they can just fill out a form.
Oh.
And there's always some staff at the fire level that checks in on those and gives them permission.
Oh,
So
okay,
so they can
Okay.
just do it electronically
okay,
with their
That's what I
phones.
was-
Yeah,
okay.
sometimes if you can't get your phone to work, you can call them up, but they're okay with it if you call
Okay.
them.
All right. Okay, anything else, Louise?
Yeah.
Okay. Building inspection. What is on, it's in the packet, we don't need to talk about it. Oh, good. Okay, so there's an item about this is under, jump to 13, well, move to 13, that's. And there's information starting on page 72. Jennifer, do you want to chat about this? Give us the
Oh,
lowdown.
this is that, I just wanted to tell everyone and kind of make everyone aware this is that annexation on CC. I think we'll see two of them. This is the one. On the side by,
More immediate one.
yeah,
They're working.
this is the one that will take place, yeah, by Mulligan's Restaurant.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to let everyone know that that's happening, that annexation is gonna be happening. The building was, or the house was taken down, excuse me. So,
Yeah, this has been in progress for some time.
yeah,
I was a little surprised. I thought it had been done.
yeah,
So this is the final steps.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I just wanted to make everyone aware that final steps are taken. And I think the one across the street will happen shortly
The
as
Greg
well,
Yep one.
but.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're, nobody would probably even know that they're really in the town anymore, but they still are, so,
Okay.
but. We'll probably get like a few. Some property tax money from this. It's
A little.
generally not a ton, but
For what period of time? Just one time deal?
what happens is they give it to us and then when we go to do our, at the end of the year, we have to give it back. So make that make sense.
No, we can't.
It's like doing taxes. You earn it and then you have to pay it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the same system. So they make you think you're gonna earn it and then you have to give it back because you have to claim it.
Okay, thank you. Under communications, board communication, what do we intend to have that be anymore? That item.
I think that would be something like when Steve had something like you want to talk about. He went to that meeting and he wanted to talk about,
This
something
general.
that came up. I think that would be
Something other
like,
than one of the fire district meetings.
yeah, right,
Say you went to a WTA meeting because
Yeah.
you wanted to learn about PFAS,
yeah.
something like that, then you could report back to the board.
I mean, that's what I would look at it. I mean, we can explore it more, but I think it'd be board communication or
Just general.
maybe something like a resident expressed something to you and you
I
wanted
was
to like,
thinking about something
Yeah.
like that.
and you needed a point to put in, but it didn't really fit into
Interesting
necessarily.
conversation with the
Yes.
board resident,
Yeah,
and that might actually lead to creating a future agenda item
Yeah.
as a result.
yeah. But it doesn't really, you want to bring something up, but it's not really a context of another agenda item.
Yeah,
Right.
But it's something that you want to bring up that's not really like going to become an action or you're not going to decide on it, but it might become something that would become an item for a future meeting.
Well, see, that's the trick. I think the catch to it could be that we start talking about something that really should be an agenda item in the meeting we're talking about it.
As long as you don't make a decision on it, like,
Just-
like you're not going to go too much in depth with it, you can still bring it up. Because that's the whole idea is you're going to bring it up to say, hey, I want to bring this up to talk about it at the next meeting. And then the board members would say,
Okay, so it's really just the board's version of public comments.
kind of, yes,
Sort of.
exactly.
Kind of
You're exactly
FYI.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and should we carry this discussion further?
Okay.
That would
Which
be
is really
like,
close to future agenda items, so
I think it is, I think it could bleed into that.
I
or
think there's a
easily.
lot of overlap.
I think so.
That's the way I always thought of future agenda items was, oh, here's something I want to talk about next month.
sometimes it could be like, but it could be something like, hey, there might be a pancake breakfast or the
Vacation.
Knights of Columbus are having something.
Just something you
or-
want everyone
Not gonna
to
be here
know.
for April.
Yeah, Yeah.
reschedule
right.
a meeting.
Right,
That's what
so
we use our
communications,
communications for.
right. So
Yeah,
I
we're-
think that communications can also be something that's not gonna be an agenda item, cause it might be. You know, there's a really good program that's happening at such and such.
Yeah.
That, you know, I think might interest.
Something that's
board members.
timely,
Yeah.
more timely than a month away.
Informative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
kind of basically
I
information.
mean, you guys are allowed to talk, that doesn't have to be, you know, it's notifying the public, this is how I look at it, this is how I'm, you know, it's saying. To the public, the board may communicate during this time, and if you want to be here to hear them communicate,
Yeah.
you have an opportunity to be here.
Yeah, it's right.
You know, they're not
No, I
gonna make any
understand.
decisions,
I
and they're
understand,
gonna
it's
be
just-
here to communicate.
It's just there's no specific topic.
Right, and that doesn't, yeah, so it's,
And
they're
there
not
might-
gonna
Which
make
is
any
fine.
decisions, right?
Some meetings there will be no,
And then if there are, we would
Right.
list them.
Okay.
but then it would get in the minutes if it were something
Yeah.
we wanna have record of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was good for me. For 15, for future agenda items, we talked about committee assignments, or we mentioned committee assignments. I didn't, it's not in my packet, I didn't bring a copy of the old, with the current list. But I will have a couple revisions to it that I'll send around to everybody and prior to May's meeting, I say that, we don't have to prove it prior to May, but there's talk about road and traffic safety being road, you know, a road committee, public works committee, if we call it that, and then a traffic safety, either subcommittee of that bigger committee or its own committee. Not sure what the best way would be for that. I don't know who the players are yet. And then with the vision plan results, I'm gonna bring some kind of vision action committee or whatever with subcommittees for the low hanging fruit, the quick wins. So we'll have maybe, I forget how many of the are listed in the report, like, so there'll be the main committee. And then underneath, maybe 4 subcommittees to start with. I think we should have we've talked about this already, but so this isn't new, but we should have some discussion about the vision results and where we realistically want to go with it. As sort of the first phase of rolling out something. Which I think will be easy to do, it's really specified, well, it'll be easy to identify. Because it's specified in the results already. I don't know if it'll be easy to actually do the things. So those are a couple ideas. I'll also send around an email to everybody on the board and staff and say, hey, any ideas for something that's not on here already
For committee.
for committee? Doesn't mean that you have to chair it. But just I'm looking for ideas.
Yeah,
I thought that would be a good threat.
Well, it may come to that.
I know that there's a lot of grants for like bicycles and things like that, so I think that that's a good one, like for that safety, like have a safety committee.
Safety as a separate committee.
Yeah. Yeah, I know like the village just got a grant for that, so it's nice to have that kind of,
Yeah,
cause like road grants, I can attest are big. And that's getting a little overwhelming, so it's like to separate out those kind of grants is more helpful, because you kind of need more hands or more division to be able to like catch all of those.
Right.
If that makes sense, because it's too hard to.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to overwhelm. I have a feeling the Road and Traffic Safety Committee has been overwhelmed for a number of years.
I feel
And we should,
it's very hard to.
I think we need to be focusing. Yeah, it may be that too many times, just narrow the topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some of the ones that were being talked about are just being belabored too
sorry.
much.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Do you think there needs to be a division beyond just say the traffic safety from, are we gonna road committee or public works committee, whatever we call it, doesn't matter to me, but should there be something else that gets captured in a smaller group?
I don't, if it's anything, there could be a subcommittee that's a specific task. I mean, if
Just a
there's something that
working-
says, hey, there's grants coming up, somebody wanna work on
You
that.
mean like an ad hoc working committee? That would be a subcommittee?
Yes,
So then if somebody wanted to work on a proposal for a bike path grant or something, then that could just, instead of, because those meetings, it just seems like we have too much to do. We're
Right.
trying to keep the meetings at a reasonable length of time, but it's just overwhelming. I mean, unless somebody else wants to take the minutes who can do a better, it's just a lot.
Your minutes are great.
But
If it's
a-
a chore, I assume it's a chore
It's a
because
lot.
minutes for these meetings.
It's a lot of discussion. The meetings have been known to go for 3 hours.
I know,
We've got them down to 2 sometimes,
I
but,
know.
but and it seems like we're kind of, those two bodies of work to me anyway, they're
Mhm.
very separate, like belaboring the Pacer ratings and going over that. That's why it's so grueling to take the minutes, because you're going, okay, this is Pacer. And then we've been having these discussions about legal state laws about people's rights on riding bicycles on town roads.
Mhm.
And we've got a lot of, a lot of stuff there to talk about, and it just becomes like the meeting should be one or the other. That's just my
Be
feeling.
separated, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if Steve has any thoughts on that, because he's interested in the bike safety part of it.
I was, I've talked about it a few times
Yeah.
and I'll be continuing to come in and get together
Right.
during that portion of.
Yeah, and then another thing that's crossed my mind, I don't know if I've mentioned it, some of this discussion bleeds over into what the park committee is doing. Like this discussion of bike recreation,
True.
and then some of the traffic
True.
safety stuff. Like we were worried about, people crossing the street from Kennedy Park to Bicentennial. And so there was wanting to have the road safety committee get signs put up, not traffic signs, just signs saying, here's Bicentennial and here's Kennedy. And then that's way like, oh my God. So we've been trying to have liaison with the park committee to get that done. And it's just like, to me, it's like, we're trying to do everything. We're trying to keep every single resident in this township safe. And we're
all
trying to
the
figure
ways.
out how to pave all the roads with no money. And it's-
Details.
Can I throw something else out there? The other thing is the reason I think I was thinking Public Works Committee is that the town of Verona has a Public Works Committee. And there's a little bit from staff where like, if the guys want a new snowplow truck, or we want something, it's sort of like we're going to our parents and we're asking them, hey, can we have this? And it's like, you don't need that, keep it. And so it would be nice to sort of have that committee to kind of like, so that when you as a board, you're not getting it from, well, the employees just want everything new all the time. They just want new equipment. It's like, there's this perception where it's like, could we, how could that work a little bit better in a way? And I'm not suggesting that this board feels that way,
Right.
but I'm just suggesting that sometimes there's a overall feeling.
Can we do this just because we're hitting like?
Yeah, no, I know, and
I think this would be a good discussion. If we're gonna talk about committees in May
Yeah.
with a new list.
Yeah.
Let's have this discussion about, okay, is what's on paper something that really makes
Maybe
sense?
Come
for
up
this
with
group?
some possible workarounds or
Yeah, just
what
a
ways to read.
discussion without like
Yeah.
4 minutes to.
right, I mean.
No, I'm just.
Got it all. I think the committee's been a very popular committee and it gets a lot of input from residents. That's been helping us with our goal of getting more better communication and everything else. But it just seems like in those hour meetings that we're having, it's just too much.
There is something that I think we've been, the planning that we're doing for the equipment.
Mhm.
I think there's a good deal of responsibility on the part of the staff, the Public Works Department, to be saying, this is our inventory. This is the plan,
Yeah.
how we're going to be turning the inventory, selling.
That's
and that-
another
And
piece.
and have that plan come from staff
Right. And I think we
more
got
than a committee.
I think we got a skeleton of that.
I think you do, and that's compliments to that, getting that plan going. I say, let's keep going on that and then have that be approved plan.
Yeah.
by the board for going on into the future.
Agreed.
Hello, how are you?
I'll say one more thing and then I'll adjourn us, but I also want to get, this is not related to what we're talking about right now, but I think you mentioned, I think Arlen, you mentioned last time a building committee, we should get on the schedule of meetings.
Yes.
So let's do that. And we'll try to put that together between now and May to actually know what's
Okay,
happening.
that sounds good there.
And anything else? Well,
A question of the first meeting at the top of the list there, the plan commission. Are we going to have comp plan edits ready for that meeting?
There's a draft.
There is a
Yeah.
draft.
It's kind of messy, but yes, you'll get your draft and you guys can go home and not do it in front of me. And
What
edit
is this? Okay, I'll ask a dumb question. Is this something to be sending that draft out? If it's going to be handed out and go home and study this?
yeah,
Do we even need to have a meeting to do that?
no, we basically all I'm gonna do is give it to you guys, but we have other things on the agenda for our
Mhm.
meeting. Yeah, we have this
Okay.
conditional use permit for the ambles, for those two topics the two things that we couldn't
Yeah.
cover in the rezone.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but no, I don't plan on discussing it in length, I just introducing it, say, here's the draft, we just got it. It's a little messy because we had to add some things, so like, what I mean by messy is the pictures and stuff, so. Then, but the wording needs to be gone through,
Okay,
and then we can, next meeting, start digging in,
okay,
I think.
okay.
let's make that the end of the meeting and then without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Yep, do I need to?
Yes, please.
Okay, tonight's Oregon annual meeting will come to order. And we'll jump right into it. I'm gonna say though too, this looks like a board meeting, it's not a board meeting. So I know the board members are sitting and staff sitting up here, but it's an electors meeting, so it's really a meeting for the residents of the town. And it does not operate in the same way that a typical board meeting operates. So we'll jump into just a couple of house cleaning things for the first couple items, and then the opportunity for any of you to bring up issues, comments, suggestions that you may have. And then we'll get into some presentations from various folks that are listed on the agenda. And then wrap up with a number of presentations from the town staff and town board. So first thing that we're gonna do is just get an approval for the minutes from the 2025 meeting. And if you have a packet, it's on the second page. If you don't have a packet, then it's up here. Good luck reading it from 15 feet away, but there it is. So if you're looking for edits or corrections, anything that you'll see that might be not entirely accurate. And if it looks good to you, just sort of give me a wave or something. Sharon, good so far?
So far.
Okay.
Very fun.
Okay. Anybody else need any more time? Okay, any board? So, okay, then without objection, the 2025 annual meeting minutes are approved. Thank you. Item number 3 is set the 2027 annual meeting date. The statutory date is April 20th of 2027. You'll see a calendar on page 5. And I assume we'll just go with the statutory date.
Unless there's any sets. Yeah.
I don't think so. So let's pick that date. We don't need a vote on that as far as I know.
No.
And then item 4 is, this is the opportunity for residents to bring up any new business. So in the definition of this meeting, everyone here is considered everyone's considered a resident. Jennifer and I are essentially running the meeting. So the existing board members up here are not representing the board, they're representing themselves as residents of the town. So they're able to interact in the same level that you are for this particular item. So I look to you at this point to see if there's anything that you wanted to bring up before the board as part of the annual meeting. I know that we've got a couple things here and these folks want to talk about. So we'll start, and you can always chime in if you want to later. So what were there any topics we wanted to cover?
I actually have 2.
Okay,
So I'm going to start with, these are actually 2 ideas that we presented, I think, a couple of years ago at the electors meeting. And one has to do with looking at changing the way board members are compensated. And I have a handout here. And the reason for this is that we think the role of board members has kind of changed a little bit. And we think we should reallocate. And we think that maybe we should change the structure. We're not asking for a lot of more extra money. You'll see how, you'll see how it plays out when you get your handout.
Thanks.
So anyway, currently, the way the stipend is set up, it's actually on the bottom part of your chart, the bottom chart. The board chairman receives $8,000 a year as a stipend or compensation for service on the board. I believe it's to kind of help us out with expenses, driving extra to meetings and a little bit for our time. And there is a feeling among board members. I'm gonna just go to Carl here. Carl generously thinks that he doesn't do twice as much as the rest of us. And he wants to redistribute the stipend a little bit as a way of recognizing the fact that all of the members on the board really contribute about equally to the effort. What with the time we spend checking in, not just with our monthly board meeting, but we all attend some of the committee meetings. You've seen some of us at if you're on a subcommittee, you've seen us at those. We go out to the fire. There's a lot going on in the EMS world right now, when we go to extra meetings to kind of check in on what happened when, for example, Belleville and New Glarus teamed up to form a new I mean, fire district, our new EMS district, I should say. So anyway, that's what the proposal is, to reallocate this so that you'll see that it would, if we start doing this in 2027, it would cost the town an extra $2,000, but we're gonna we would propose to bump all of the supervisors up to $5,000 a year as opposed to 4. And then the chairman would take a pay cut and go down to $6,000 per year. And this would become effective if the electors did approve it, would become effective next April. So that, and it would apply to everyone serving on the board at the time. So yes, we are asking for our own raise, and that feels a little awkward. But anyway, so I would like to move that the electors approve this reorganization of our compensation structure so that each supervisor will receive $5,000 a year, 1,000 increase over 4, and the chairman will receive $6,000 per year. So I'm making that motion.
I'd be looking for a second from anyone in the audience who's.
I second it.
Okay,
And Mike Rakowski.
so Mike, and discussion.
And can I just, Sharon, go ahead.
I have a question. When the board members attend a meeting away from the town hall or an extra committee meeting, you know, let's say someone shows up at our plant commission meeting or whatever, do they get an extra for attending that meeting?
No.
I do not. Mm-mm.
So the board members just get
The flat.
the flat salary, no
Yeah.
mileage compensation, no, okay.
Sometimes there's a per diem, but I think that's for, you know better than I do, Jennifer.
In
It's
the
very
past-
rare.
In the past, I have paid, in the past, not this current board, in the past, mileage has been requested. But that was one specific person and nobody has requested mileage. So no,
Okay,
in terms of mileage, so anyone who's attended a meeting like New Glarus or wherever Belleville, no one has. No.
Right. I mean, my personal take on being on the board is that it's a volunteer. I'm reaching out to volunteer to do something and I happen to get some money, you know, you can't live on whatever we're paying here, but you get a little money towards gas and whatever, but it's not specific to expenses. I'm not gonna say, oh, I drove 20 miles back and forth to get to a meeting. What's my mileage? That doesn't happen, no one does that. My main concern about this, well, two things, I guess, or multiple things, is that, you know, you look at $5,000, $6,000, obviously that's not a wage. It's not a full-time wage, even though most of us do put in 40 hours plus a week, I would say. To me, it's more about balancing the compensation with what people do. And everybody does a lot of work on this board. There's nothing about the existing structure that makes any sense as far as how much time and effort you put into what you're doing with committees or board meetings or other meetings and working with other organizations. Nothing about it makes sense to have 4,000 versus 8,000. So that was my main goal in trying to talk about this and fix that balance. The only reason that $6,000, we talked about it a couple of years ago, maybe it was last year, maybe it was both years. We all do about the same amount of work. I've got a couple extra things to do just by statute, some additional duties that I have to do. And so a couple of years ago, someone said, oh, don't make it the same, just make it a little bit more. And so that's what we've done as far as the 5,000 versus 6,000. The time that, and there was apprehension too, in the last time that we tried to get it approved. Some of the board members thought, kind of what Lori said, is that in a way you're only voting for your own pay increase if you happen to win the next election.
And that's entirely possible, and you entirely could do that, but really what we're doing is trying to set up the next round of board members to have a compensation structure that makes sense. I'd also argue that the 5,000 and 6,000 is probably low compared to what other boards pay out. That's more of a gut feeling than an actual like analysis. So the things that I like about this comes back to everyone being paid about the same amount. A board member should not feel like you're gonna pocket some extra money starting next month. That's not the way it happens. We're talking about a year down the road. And from just purely administrative standpoint, once the elections happen next spring and this comes into effect, it makes sense to have it be in effect for the entire board. So those are the kind of the key points. Is it's a balance. It's not really related to the dollar amount so much. I tried to not increase it and still keep round numbers, but $2,000 more is almost immeasurable as far as our budget goes. So we wind up with paying about the same amount out in total compensation. We get a better balance of compensation across the entire board. It's not kicking in right away. It'll kick in next year when we can budget for it. So I think it's a smart move to make, and I think it respects the effort that the supervisors have put in that really isn't being compensated as in the current structure right now. So if there's more discussion, please feel free to chime in, otherwise we'll jump to a vote.
I admire your generosity.
Thank you.
His modesty.
But it makes sense, I think this stuff makes sense, regardless of who's in the chair and who's in the supervisor positions. So any other discussion? If not, we'll do a vote, and show of hands, do you need to do?
We can do it anyway, but show of hands is probably the easiest way. This is a pretty small group, so I think show of hands is probably.
Okay,
easier.
last chance for any more discussion on this particular item. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand, please.
Nine, is that what you got?
I didn't count, sorry. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7?
Well,
Glenn was,
Okay,
well, he was, yeah.
yeah, okay.
She had.
Did her initial
Yeah,
count.
yeah.
okay, thank you.
Carries.
Oh, hold on.
Move the nose.
Just count the nose, so anyone, all opposed, raise your hands. All opposed, raise your hands.
I'm just abstaining.
Abstain, okay. And then, is that 7? The total count? 9? 2?
We should have used the badger books.
And then I had 1 abstain, because, yeah.
Was there no vote, any no votes?
I didn't see any no.
Okay, then motion passes. Thank you, everybody. And Lori's got another item too.
I have another item. This is an item I also tried to present a couple of years ago. And I don't have enough of these for everyone. I think you have enough to share. And Glenn has one. And I'll put this over to Glenn. Okay. Right. And I wrote out a little script because what I want to talk about is sort of hard to explain but maybe you can see it better if you look at our ballot. I want to propose that to our electors that we switch from a multi-seat to a single seat ballot with individually numbered seats for our board members. Why am I suggesting this? I'm going to just tell you a little story, and I might have even told this story 2 years ago, but there's a coda to the story. So if you look at our ballot here, starting with Chris Taylor and Maria Esplazar, you will notice that every single seat that you voted on, except for the board supervisors one, the bottom one under municipal, everybody was asked to vote for one. But when you get down to the bottom column and it says municipal, the last thing in the left column, town board supervisor, vote for not more than 2. Everything else was vote for 1. Some of the ballots where you voted for 1 were contested, so we see 2 names of which you pick 1. There are some that on the school district, if you look on the right, there are 3 open seats, but they're all separately listed. And the first 2 are uncontested. You have the option of a write-in for all of the seats. You have an option. And so then, but you get to the 3rd seat for the board, there are 2 people running against each other for 1 seat. So we have for municipal town board supervisors, we have vote for not more than 2. But you could easily think, especially if you're on voting day, I always get sort of obsessed with making sure my circles don't get too messy and stuff. So by the time you get to the bottom of the left column, you might be a little complacent and a little, still nervous about. So it could be real easy to think you were only being asked to vote for 1 person, even though it says vote for not more than 2. Okay, so why is this an issue? A couple reasons. When I ran for the board in 2024, and the results were reported. When the results are reported, they give Arlen Kai so many votes, Lori Fitzgerald so many votes. Well, inevitably, one of us gets a few more votes than the other. So I had somebody come up to me in Sonny's restaurant in front of everybody to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry you lost the election." And I thought, oh, I lost an uncontested election. How did I do that? So then I thought, well, that's just, whatever. Well, then it turns out 2026, we have another uncontested election. Same thing happens. One of us is given condolences. And so it makes us suspect, why is this happening? So I'm going to just throw out some advantages that this might give to voters. Some advantages this new system of single seat might give to somebody contemplating running for office. And by the way, I can only speak for myself, but I welcome people contesting our seats. I really think elections should, if we have no one running against us, that's, it's not good. It's not. And besides, some of us, we might eventually age out. Advantages for voters. Each open seat would appear separately on the ballot with the instruction to vote for 1. Confusion over who won an election would be lessened, as the results would show 1 winner for each of the open seats. Residents would see immediately whether a particular seat is contested or not. And maybe if they saw that all of our seats were uncontested, it might inspire them to think maybe next time I'm going to get in there and run for office. And then finally, you still get to place write-in candidates as you do now. But when you do that, the write-in would be competing against 1 person rather than 2 or even 3. So if you're wanting to get your hat in the ring, and there was maybe there wasn't an open seat, you could, choose to run against a particular candidate. Okay. All right. So then what does it do for candidates? Okay. I'll just make this as quick as I can. A challenger for a numbered seat would only run against 1 other person. rather than running against 2 or 3. That goes for write-ins and for somebody who files nomination papers. The change to numbered seats might lessen the incumbent's advantage and lead to fresh perspective on the board by having a little more turnover. And finally, this is something that Jennifer mentioned to me, and I hope I can explain this correctly, but there are occasions where a person who's filed nomination papers might have to drop out of a race for an uncontested seat. And you would have no one being reelected other than if a write-in were willing to do that. And this way, if we could find someone to be a write-in, we could still have time to get, and then we wouldn't have to wait 2 or 3 months after the April, after we sign up the new candidates in April. We wouldn't have to wait 2 or 3 months to advertise for an open seat and try to appoint somebody. So we could keep the town business moving a little more smoothly. Okay, last point. The seats would not be assigned to specific wards or geographic locations. We'd still be basically at large, but we would just show the voters clearly how many seats were open, and we could see who was contested and who wasn't. And then the last thing would be, Carl was just talking about the extra work that we do on the board. We wouldn't be able to say, okay, seat 1, that's so-and-so, that person also has to be on the planning commission. We couldn't do that. We wouldn't do that. We would continue to assign people to do committee work kind of based on their skills and interests. Okay, so that's the end of the explanation. So I'm going to move that the town of Oregon electors approve the change from at-large seats with a multi-seat ballot structure to individually numbered seats for the town of Oregon Board of Supervisors.
And do hear a second for that.
I second.
Discussion.
Any questions, Clint? Chief?
Yeah, I just got a question as far as in general, is there a Pacific, this is education for me, if nothing else. Our supervisors, are there Pacific areas that they have to run in, or are they, it's open throughout the town?
It's open, it's at large,
Okay,
basically.
right.
And that is important to say, because a lot of times the reason for numbering seats is because you assign them to a ward or a particular geographical area.
All right,
So these would just be numbered seats, so it'd be like board supervisor 1, board supervisor.
Yeah.
which means nothing that anybody throughout the town. can
Anybody could
still
run for any of
Okay.
those.
Yeah, it would look just like the school district does on here, except it wouldn't give a designated district. They've got area 1, area 2, area 3. We wouldn't have that, but otherwise our seats would look just like that.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't know who is.
Which one are you pointing?
Okay, why don't you go?
All right. All right, so I understand what you're saying. I guess logistically, I'm not clear on, so when you have a geographical area, it makes sense, because if you
Right.
have a contested
Yeah.
thing, you
Yeah.
have certain candidates. So I guess what I'm wondering is, logistically, when you have a contested election, so you have, say, a third person that would have been running in this one, if you've got it separated out, how is it determined who they're gonna be running against? You know, I mean, you can't put their name against both the other two.
No,
No.
I mean,
They would
Say
have to
that when they
choose.
filled out their nomination papers, they would have to say, do you want to run in spot 1 or do you want to run in spot 2, for example?
Yeah.
When they're filling out their nomination
Yeah.
papers, they would just declare it. So,
Or 3 or 4.
Yep.
right,
Would
whatever.
have
So
running.
every 2 years, there's 2 board members that run.
Right.
So it would be like year 1 and 2 would be like 1 and 2, and then the next year would be years 3 and 4. And so when you would be filling out your nomination papers, say you were coming in and someone was running in 1, then you might take 2. Or if you were like, no, I want to run against that particular individual, you would say, I want to run in spot 1. Or
Or I don't want to run against.
or
that
I don't want to
particular
run
person.
against that one. It allows you to it allows the voter to pick who they want to run against, it allows the candidate to pick who they might want to run against or who they might not want to run against. And it would also allow the voter to pick who they might want to choose from and who they might want to pick. So like sometimes it gets lost when they're together and they don't always know if they can pick two people. This would make it clearer that they get to pick who they get to choose. It gives you more, it looks like you would have more option or more control over who you actually want to choose.
Yes.
That makes sense.
It does, but then the voter is actually losing an option though. So say you have that third person and they decide to run against just, board seat one. You can't, so say somebody voting says, well, I want those two people are the two people I would like to elect, not the one on seat two. They're losing that voting option then, right? I mean, so they're gonna be forced to, they're gonna be forced to not be able to vote for somebody that they might actually want to vote for.
That is true.
Yep.
You're right, that is true. That is,
Okay.
that would be a negative
That
part
is a
about
negative,
that. Yeah, you're right. If they, cause those two people would have to choose to run against each other
Right.
instead of running, you're right. That would be the negative part about that, the system that would be set up. Yeah. You're exactly right.
Okay,
Could that second person, or could that person running for a seat be written into the other seat? If,
No.
no, okay.
No, no, that would be one of the negatives of not being able to, you would have to pick, you have to choose. Yep.
It would just be an obstacle that we don't already do. I don't know about a negative. It's very common practice in all of the seats
Oh.
that we, you know what I mean?
Right, it's not like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's common practice that you have to choose which one you want.
Let's put it in a great
But
world
yes.
where we can have choice or there is competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gloria.
I think Lee had, Lee wanted to say something.
Oh, I had the same thing, but what she's talking, the one unopposed could get in. But the one that's running against, the one unopposed might get less votes than the other two.
Correct.
Yeah,
I think the way you have it right now is better.
Other discussion,
Yes.
Gloria?
2 out of 3.
Is there something you could do on the ballot just to make that more visible? Like in this case, vote for not more than 2 capital letters, bold, something to make that stand out
We
more.
we don't just control or design the ballots. But I wish that was
Mhm.
a thing, but people just, they don't read. Unfortunately, it's just the truth. Inexperienced voters don't read any of, I mean, it's
Right.
on every single line.
Right.
The directions are on every line, so you should kind of be common used to
Is-
reading the directions or being told the directions, but but we don't control what the
Right.
ballot looks like,
Right.
unfortunately,
Okay.
but great suggestion.
So if you don't control the way the ballot looks, how are we gonna implement this change?
no, I,
You don't control the way the design is.
It
Oh,
would look like what's on the left.
Oh, I see.
And most of the
Once that-
time, no one would be
Yeah.
having anyone running against them.
Yeah.
Which is been the pattern.
Is this a case where you could have, the people working, at the ballot, handing out the ballots, where giving special instructions if needed? If you have a case like on a ballot like this, where you only have one race, that it is that, just say, make a note for the municipal, you may vote, you may select 2, and more just verbally pointing that out to people? Or is that not good?
That's what it is, right?
I don't know if you can, because you're not supposed to guide them too much.
it's like tend
So unless we're
over
doing it-
explaining it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we tend to get in trouble.
We would have
Sure.
to equally do it for each of those
Mhm.
races, so. And sometimes
It's on a
there's
slippery slope.
10 races, of other sorts. We couldn't just say
Right.
for our municipal, we wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Okay.
How about you have 3 people running, why have not 3 different lines and it says vote for 2?
That's what.
That's what it is now.
That's what it is now.
Yeah, but I like what you're saying. You're saying like more prominent lines maybe in between them, knowing that they're separate
To
people.
make them.
Right,
stand
have their name in a separate,
Right, I
Yeah.
love that idea. but
At that control.
It's still a
Yeah.
formatting problem though.
it's still a formatting issue, yeah. It is.
Just to add, Lori, I'm a retired teacher, and for years I spent time with Madison Metropolitans and on just that, on looking at tests and diagnosing the WKCE tests that kids took at 4th and 8th and in high school. And one of the big problems on tests like that were lots and lots of kids, and adults do the same thing. In the same example, put down 2 or 3, they skip and put down 1.
Okay.
They kind of
Yeah.
fly, your eyes kind of fly by it. There's a lot of data that shows that that's not a good way to write a test. Because oftentimes you will not get responses that are complete.
Which kind of indicates you're not successfully polling individuals.
That's not really similar. You'd have to pick who they're gonna run against.
I'm not advocating for you.
Right, but I get what you're saying.
That's what they said.
Sometimes we just don't catch everyone's vote, which is, I think,
Yeah,
that's.
and it speaks to me that people don't really even know who all their board members are, and, you know, if we had more contested elections, we couldn't just rest on our laurels, but we'd have to campaign, and then people would know us better. You know, that's all, but the way it is now, it's just like you look at this and you go, oh, well, we got 2 candidates here. Well, for one, you know, it's just that idea that I feel like it's part of a larger disconnect that we have about how the board operates and how town business operates. And I feel like as a board member, one of the things that I try to do, I just make people, it's important to get involved, and it's important to know what's going on. And I think this just speaks to that people only thought one of us was, I don't know. Anyway, that's enough.
Any other discussion?
Are we ready?
Any other discussion? Everyone? Here? Okay, so we'll raise hands again. So all in favor, raise your hand and keep it up, please, so we count.
On what?
Of single vote.
Of the proposed.
Changing it.
Single seat in favor of changing to single.
So, yes, so, okay, so please raise your hand again and keep it up if you're in favor. And you got everyone?
Yeah, 5.
So, anyone opposed, please raise your hand and keep it up.
5.
Okay.
What do we do? Bring it up next time.
No, it doesn't carry.
There's not a tiebreaker in the room.
No, there's not.
No, there's no tie.
Because you guys all already voted, right?
Yeah.
Everybody who was eligible to vote in this room
Yeah.
just did.
Yeah.
Nobody left themselves
Nobody
out.
abstained.
So we can't beg somebody for a
Nobody
vote. right?
abstained.
So the motion does not pass.
It's just,
Thanks for hearing it out again.
thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
And I'll just take the humiliation. You guys are good with that.
So I think what you say is valid. I'm just not sure this is the right vehicle for educating people about how things work.
All right, thanks.
Then we're gonna move on to presentations, and the first one is,
Anything else though?
oh, well, that's just right. As far as new business, does anyone else have anything didn't in the beginning? We just want to make sure nothing came to mind.
I have a question.
Sure.
But I want to wait till later because these people are on borrowed time. So I think they need to go first.
Okay, remind me.
Okay.
Okay, Chief Linsmeyer,
Yes, here, present. Long version or short version?
it's up to you.
Short. Yeah, I knew that. Now, we're giving you the short version because we're gonna make a little trip to the north tonight and to the town of Dunn, so we're gonna go out there. So I sent over a whole packet of our annual report for the fire district. That Jennifer has, it's up on the website probably, right?
Yeah,
And also here, some of them have it, so I take any questions on that, but it's, you know. When I go through the annual report, there's a lot of conversation and a lot of discussion that I have in a lot of different places. And I never, right, Rachel? I never can do it in 10 minutes. So it's.
Tonight you can.
There's no way. There's no way. I'll hit the highlights And then we'll go from there and that kind of stuff. But basically, first and foremost, thank the town of Oregon for being a contributing partner to the Oregon Fire District and our EMS operations, that kind of stuff. Probably one of the biggest things that I told Jennifer a couple weeks ago when I stopped in here in preparation for this meeting tonight was basically with that merger of the Sugar River Group, the Belleville and New Glarus stuff. I took a bunch of phone calls from my neighbors, town residents, different people saying, "Fire chief, what's going on? Is the Oregon Fire Department, we gotta wait for an ambulance coming from Belleville now or New Glarus?" And I said, "No, that's not the case. It's only this merger that's happened down in New Glarus and those kind of things. So we're still here, all the above and all that kind of stuff." Of course, we got some other things I want to talk about at the end about the future and all the other stuff that we're looking at. But at the end of the day, the stuff that is in this annual report is our numbers, like near the end, is basically, again, about 1,320 EMS calls and about 475 fire calls, that kind of stuff. We got this all broken down as Jennifer's going through. You can look at the budgets, the fluctuation and all the different things that happen. The amount of hours that our men and women are out in the field that do different things. Of course, most of that stuff is for station, our operations and taking care of incidents, no matter where it is in the fire district, that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it all adds up and that kind of thing. The things, again, for our level B operations, when I say level B operations, we're that training group for, the major leagues, basically. Every year, for those that have heard me at different annual meetings, different places, we have someplace between probably 7 to 9 different personnel that get hired full-time status someplace in the country. I mean, it doesn't matter where. Most of the time when they're leaving us, they're firefighter medics. But it just continues to grow, and we get 6 or 7 new ones in, new faces. Rachel sees it at the senior center, and some of them are getting to be very, very young, and some of us are getting a little bit more seasoned. And it's interesting times and all that kind of thing. Jennifer's on basically our staffing plan here. This is something that the commission looked at a number of years ago. Steve, I think, was probably part of that. I can't remember what year we adopted it. But if you look at our staffing and everything else, in the staffing plan in 26, this is scheduled theoretically to hire a couple more full-time people. It is going to be interesting in our budgetary times that we are currently in to see what that's going to look like. It'll probably be fun, a fall and all the above. And I haven't joined Rachel yet in the retirement era, but you never know. Those days might be coming someday at some point in my life. I don't know yet when. But realistically, that's our staffing plan and all that other kind of stuff. I will say, for those that have been following the fire district over the last year, we had a very successful outcome in the insurance rating services. The ISO folks rated our fire department as a number 2. And a number 2, there's the best, like the city of Madison, is a 1. So we went from basically a 3, we went up to a 2. When I came here back in 2016, I believe it was, we were a 4. So over a period of almost 10 years or so, we took that operations from a 4 to a 2 in the village of Oregon and anything with our hydranted areas. So that's a real good rating for your insurances and that kind of stuff. And then in our rural area, any place that we go there, we're rated a 3 with our mutual aid packs, our automatic aid agreements and all that other kind of stuff. At the end of the day, what does that mean for you as a homeowner? Is make sure you talk to your insurance companies and let them know that Oregon has a good fire rating and it'll save you a few dollars. Probably not as much as what your insurance went up on your home. Believe me, I live in the rural. I know what the insurance rates are looking at in the rural area, but it is at least something to try to maybe offset some of that cost, that kind of stuff as we go. Again, we got the massive numbers and all that kind of stuff. We're looking at the capital plans, all that other kind of stuff. Steve knows, the board knows. We have had a study going on for probably now a little over a year, looking at stations and the rebuilds and all of that other kind of stuff, looking at the Oregon Village downtown. A lot of different, I'll just be very PC. A lot of different politics. There's some people that are for certain things. There are some that are not quite so much in favor of. We got the 25-year building that was built back in 2002. Things need to be upgraded, all of the above. And what I keep saying, and the same things I tell my townships and the village of Oregon over and over, you need fire and EMS protection, and we need a place that's reliable, and the staff are men and women. And what does that mean? We need to have at least 6 people today that can go out the door. And what that means is that all of our backup ambulances are staffed 24/7. We can go someplace and be able to do that. We are finding that probably, 17% of the time is what my division chief of EMS is telling me, that we are out of 2 ambulances and we're waiting for ambulances from the outside. So those are the things that we look at with the growth and how that happens. Of course, we got ambulances other places, we help others, all of that other kind of thing. But at the end of the day, all of that stuff is out there and all the above. Jennifer has up there right now, basically the new ambulance that we put in capital a couple of years ago. We just took place of that. That you'll see that up and running. It says paramedics on the side, and of course we got paramedics in the fire station 24/7, 365 days a year. Again, be able to give cardiac meds and to do other things wherever we need to do advanced life support. So that has been very beneficial to not only the Oregon area, but our greater region that we respond to and all that kind of stuff. The other stuff that we bought about is some stair chairs to be able to move people out with equipment instead of manual from our old fashioned days, that kind of stuff. You can scroll up to that station project. We got a lot of stuff going on with the station project. Let me back up a little bit. Basically say we got another study going on that is happening with a bunch of us. It started out more of a consolidation and forming a larger fire and EMS district. And there's probably a lot of folks that have not heard this yet. I'm sure that the village or at the town level here, the Village of Oregon definitely knows about it because they're part of it. We are looking at currently about 303 square miles of territory, which is a large area that we're looking at bringing fire and EMS together. Over my tenure in Dane County, and I've been in Dane County a long time, we have tried this multiple times, 2008, 2012, 2016, and 18. So again, with the times of where money is and trucks being, Arlen, what are my trucks this day and age? 800,000, 1,000,001, 1,000,002, and growing. It isn't going to end there. It just continues to go on. At the end of the day, we're looking at how we can do business, staffing wise, equipment, backing each other up, all of that kind of stuff. And this is not just for our Oregon area. This is for right now. We have a lot of people at the table. So it's the townships of anybody that's in our fire district is going to be included in this study. The townships of Stoughton, of McFarland, those municipalities, Fitchburg, I believe we don't quite have Verona on board yet. We're going to be talking out there on Monday night to see where Verona goes, but we are definitely in favor of this and see where this all goes. The plan is that we're going to have those consultants come in, talk to our municipal boards, talk to the town boards, everybody else, compile all this information, looking at everything that's out there, and then figuring out how many fire trucks and how much equipment you need in each area. At the end of the day, I would tell folks this: I don't think it's going to be any cheaper than what we're doing it today. And what probably is going to be recommended, because keep in mind, I worked a little bit for some consultants back about 10 years ago. A lot of times you look at your NFPA standards, you look at everything else. They're going to tell us where we are deficient, and we should probably start building in some of these gray areas. And what that's going to do is like, okay, in the next 5 years, you need to fix this in this particular angle. You need to fix that. You need to fix these different things and to grow this operation. So the costs are not going to be probably any less, but they're probably going to be more. And at the same time, it's going to be, instead of these ISO numbers of like 2 versus 4, that kind of thing, it'll be a consistent ISO that we can respond any place within 4 minutes, hopefully anywhere in the district, which is going to be challenging. That kind of stuff. In our own studies that we've hired a company and look at, and I think, Steve, you saw some of them. What do they recommend? That the Oregon Fire District needed like 4 fire stations in our 48 square miles. And it's just unbelievable. This is not going to happen. So there's ways to help that and all that other kind of stuff. Of course, our majority of our calls is EMS driven. And I think we all know that. But at that same point, we need that fire stuff to be able to back all that up. At the end of the day, I have no idea where this is going to be come next December, 1st of the year, all that kind of stuff. Everything should be compiled, and they should be putting some stuff out to all of our decision makers, to our councils, to our fire administration, our commission board, and everything else. And then there will be the next steps. Of course, we met with DOR, we're talking about innovation grants, we're thinking about, different funding. Everything is government funded and all the above. Government money is only around for so long. Government money runs out, and then you have to make up the difference. So you got to be able to float this stuff at the end of the day and all that kind of thing. So this is probably what did I say to Jennifer the other day? She said something to me on that avenue of like, Glenn, you got all these different things that you're juggling and all the above. This consolidation thing is probably one of the fun things for me right now, believe it or not. And I know it's really sick, but that's one of the things that I have thought about for a long time. And there was a bunch of us back in 2008 that was in favor of it and all the above. But there are so many different politics and so many different things that happen in Dane County, that why reasons and things don't get brought together, that we hope that we can bring this together with. Maybe it ain't gonna be 303 square miles. Maybe we can start with 150 square miles, maybe 3 or 4 of our districts. But it needs to start someplace, and it needs to start overlapping so that we have, that the townships are included, our larger municipalities and all that, and they have heard me out in multiple different ways. A matter of fact, I will just say, with the study, the Village of Oregon is taking care of all of our partners in the Oregon Fire District as far as any cost. There is no cost to any municipality, towns. The village is basically taking that on for the fire district. So if you see the village reps, thank them for taking that on. So those are the things, a lot of different things. And at the same time, we want to be able to respond 24/7 to whatever incidents we have and the different things that we have to take care of out in the fire district and that kind of stuff. So I kind of leave it as that. I take any questions. You can always call me, email me, pretty responsive, try to get back. What do you think, Steve? In 24 hours, usually I call you back?
Easily.
Okay, so that kind of stuff, but any questions, Carl, board?
Nothing from me.
I just want to say, Glenn, that with Tim's latest updates on, I think the OFED is really doing great work.
Thank you.
And kind of looking at the options about that you just talked about. I really think.
We have lots of irons in the
and
fire.
you've got a lot of
Yep.
creative minds on the case.
We've got a good team with the commission, the work group and all of those folks and everything else. And even with the study stuff, there are probably now we're getting with these other municipalities, everybody, and there's probably 20 of us that are really working hard behind the scenes, taking a lot of phone calls and a lot of conversation, trying to make this happen.
Yeah.
Phil Van Campen did a great job last week at the Brooklyn
Thank you.
Fire Commission.
Yep.
It took Phil to get it going, because
Yep.
Brooklyn's a different fire district than the village is,
But I
as you
think
well
it's
know.
really exciting
Yep.
that these talks, these things are happening.
Our committee left excited about it.
And that's the thing, will there be issues? Will there be hurdles that we all have to agree upon and move forward and all that kind of stuff? The governance board, but between the consultants and good minds and people with business sense sitting at the table, being able to put this stuff together. I've told Martin here in the village, I believe, I really think we have better than a 50-50 shot of making this work. Again, it's probably not going to be, it's not going to be saving things. And I'm sure we're going to hear different things like, really, you guys really need this much equipment and everything else. Yes, we really need this much equipment, because when and if this happens or that happens someplace, we need to be able to deal with it. And again, this is in this larger area, so all the above.
I'm not even sure if the consolidation is about saving money, but it's really about survival of some of these.
Some of the different
local
operations.
services, yeah.
That's exactly right.
Because the way that budgets and available funding are going, it's not a positive result if you just look at that without consolidation.
No.
So it's exciting, I think.
We're fortunate yet that we have a lot of people applying by us. We got a lot of men and women coming in, different docs, nurses, different people that want to run on EMS, different things. They're there from anywhere between 3 and 5 years. Some others are not that fortunate. So we have a lot of different revolving doors, a lot of different people going through the careers and all that. So it hasn't knocked on wood yet to us, but is that going to be in 5 years or 10 years? I don't know. I'd rather be ahead of that curve so that, 5 years from now, Glenn probably is not going to be in this position. So in all likelihood. I'm going to run for town board.
Hopefully, no, that'd be great. You can run against me.
Vote for 3. That's just what I need is town politics. But any other questions? Sorry.
No, Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you much. Appreciate everything.
Excellent.
Thank you, Glenn.
I'll see you.
I'm done.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to Rachel on the senior center report.
So Jennifer's got a couple things in the packet for me, but I don't know if anybody would like paper copies. I do have a few paper copies of
I think
statistics.
we have some.
You got them? Anybody want one?
Did you want to start, Rachel, with this, or but did you want to, which would you like to start with? This?
No, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sounds good.
There is the statistics, here is the right fun colorful part. So first of all, I just want to start out by saying thank you to the town of Oregon. You guys have been great partners for the last 46 years since Senior Center first opened its doors in its current location. And just a reminder, we're currently approaching the middle of year 3 of a 5-year agreement that the town has with the village for supporting the center. So this year, our annual summary is pretty simple. We, on the front page, went ahead and looked at the number of a variety of services that we've provided in 2025 and then added them to the total since 2015. So we can see what's the impact been since 2015. So this year we served 5,065 meals to people who are basically homebound. And since 2015, that brings us up to 77,333 meals. So, you know, looking at a year can be interesting and instructive, but when you start looking back at what the cumulative effect of that is, it can be significant. So another 5,300 meals are served at the center this year, and that makes 47,000 meals over time. Exercise classes have done nothing but grow in the years that I've been at the center, and we're now up to, since 2015, almost 53,000 exercise classes. So hopefully we're helping keep people independent and in their homes. Transportation's been a need, and just as we would expect, about 1/10 of the rides in that period of time were given last year. And then our volunteer hours, our volunteers continue to make us able to do the things that we do at the senior center. So 8,310 volunteer hours are about the equivalent of 4 full-time staff. And we add that into the total mix and we get up to 78,000 hours. So that was kind of our front half. And then when we go to the back page of this, we got a lot more words. On the far side, it talks a little bit about bursting at the seams. We are just bursting at the seams in the current building, but we still saw some growth this year, even though we've been limited by the space that we have. So our health services utilization was up by 15%. Attendance at social group is up 10%. And the number of times people came in was up 19%. Our loan closet is being used more. People are coming more to the entertainment events and recreational events. And exercise class attendance this year was only up by 1.5%, which is the smallest increase, I think, in all the years I've been there, except COVID. But if you look at the picture on the bottom under there, you can see one of the exercise classes that's in our main front hall. There's no more room for people to attend an exercise class, so we really can't grow. I chuckle because more than once people come in our front door and almost step on someone because they're on the floor doing their yoga or whatever it might be. So we're hoping if we go over to the far other end of the page, the right hand, if you've got it in front of you, toward the better tomorrow. Things will get better with our new building. And we talk a little bit in that column about some of the progress that was made towards the new building in 2025. And the bottom picture there is coming in the front door of that new building, what that's expected to look like. And I don't think we'll be worried about stepping on anybody as we come in the front door. We'll talk about the new building in just a minute, but just a thank you to all of our funders for their support. So all the local municipalities that are involved, Dane County Area Agency on Aging. We also get revenue from our state licensed adult day program, the 501c3 nonprofit that helps support the senior center, which is the Oregon Council on Aging, and a lot of private individuals and organizations. Then we've got a list of some of the things that were new in 2025, and I just realized tonight that we invented a new game apparently. It says, what was new in 2025? 2 new game groups, Peen Chol.
No.
instead of pinochle. I don't know how many people looked at that and didn't catch that it didn't say pinochle, it says pinchol. So if you want to learn how to play pinchol, stop it. And Pokino. And then there's a variety of other things. We did a program about artificial intelligence that was really well attended by people, had a lot of interest in learning more about that. We started a grief support group. We just, just doing what we can with what little space we have. So that is the colorful and fun page. Then you have a page of statistics, which you probably all gotten used to reading by now. If you've seen them before, the far right-hand column gives you the full number of things, the number of seniors that received the service, and the number of times they received it. And it's broken down by columns so that you can see, what sort of services were people who live in the town of Oregon receiving. So you can see, for example, if you go down, 23 people came into the center and had 316 meals over the course of 2025. 2 people from the town attended our adult day program. We look down at the bottom, we see you had 29 volunteers, volunteered 514 times, and provided 1,072 hours of volunteer time. So it's a breakdown so that you can sort of see how the townspeople, what kinds of services they're receiving from the senior center. Then the new building. The Village of Oregon contracted with Portson Construction. Portson Construction is based in Dubuque. They are currently building a new well in the Village of Oregon. So they were not an unknown construction company. And the village has been very happy with them. They had the low bid and we had some experience with them in the village. So that was a nice combination. The new building is going to be located in the sort of the parking lot and the area where the post office and the library's parking lot used to be. The senior center is staying in its current building while the new one is built. Then the current senior center will be torn down, we'll move into the new building and will become the parking lot for the new building. So it's really nice that we don't have to move and try and do services out of a different space. So the building, where are they? The village contract reports on it to build, it's an approximately $18 million project. It has a fully built out solar panel, solar on that rooftop. It also includes some EV charging stations in the parking lot, thanks to a grant from Dane County. The area where it's being built has been fenced off and they have gotten to work there, which you can't really see because they have like the plastic tarpy things to help reduce flying around. So we can see the arms of the excavators at times. So in addition to being a new senior center that's large enough to really support senior services, the building offers a lot of other opportunities for the community. So some of the things that building's going to have is a commercial kitchen that will allow the food pantry to be able to break down bulk food. If the food pantry gets food in bulk and they want to break it down into smaller quantities for their customers, they have to do that in a commercial kitchen. And there isn't one available to them. So hopefully, they'll be able to buy the big containers of rice or noodles or whatever it might be. They'll be more cost effective for them. This building will have all the features necessary to serve as an emergency shelter for the area if we should ever need one. So there's a generator that will keep the building running. There's accessible bathrooms. There's that kitchen. There's the community gymnasium section would be big enough to put cots in if we needed to put cots in. So if heaven forbid we ever need an emergency shelter, that building will serve at that purpose. It does include a gymnasium with an indoor walking track around the perimeter with one of the stiff mesh screening kind of things in between. So the flying basketball doesn't take out the person walking around the edge of the track. Although it would make it a little more exciting for everyone. It's not what we're after. And there's a large room off the gymnasium that we call the main hall that can be divided into 2 smaller rooms that will be accessible after hours without having to go all through the senior center. I don't know yet what the village is going to, you know, what kinds of parameters they're gonna put on use of that room, but it is designed in a way that community could have access to it. And in terms of the senior center part of that building, some of the upgrades over what we have now are an exercise studio with a floor that's appropriate for older joints, so people don't have to exercise on concrete with laminate over it. A classroom that will have a demonstration kitchen, so cooking classes can be taught there. A much larger space for our state licensed adult day program so that we can potentially expand from 3 mornings a week to eventually full-time. Dane County is really underserved in terms of adult day programs. The demand is much greater than what the supply is, and so that will be a nice option. On one side of the building, there's a covered drive that will allow people who are amazing volunteers who come pick up their meal bags to go deliver meals to people at home to actually be undercover while they're loading their cars and unloading them every year. It seems this year we didn't. We won't. It seems that every year somebody falls in the alley as they're trying to load or unload their cars, and these are often older adults themselves, and we don't need that. So if we can get them undercover, that will be great. This will include what I call the dishwasher for wheelchairs. It's a machine that you can actually put medical equipment into and it will wash it so that somebody's not by hand trying to clean every spoke when our equipment comes back being borrowed by the community. We'll have dedicated space for the delivery of health services. And we will have space for people to meet with outside providers. We don't right now really have any space. If somebody wants to get their taxes done at the senior center, we don't have any place for that to happen. If they want to meet with somebody about veterans benefits, we don't have any of those small consultation spaces. So we'll have some of those, and they can also be helpful when somebody has a telemedicine visit that they would like to do and they don't know how to set that up themselves, or they don't have computer access. So a family or a companion restroom, a covered patio, a balance hallway where people can have the chance to work independently on maintaining their sense of balance to reduce fall risk, and space to sit down and enjoy a cup of coffee or a conversation. We have almost none of that now. I feel badly. We get one exercise class done. The ladies in Zumba want to chat, and we say, the next class is coming in now. We're sorry. At least this time of the year, they can go outside and chat in the parking lot, but in the winter, not so much. So we're really looking forward to the new building. There are, I think, images on the Village of Oregon's website if you want to check them out, but they think that the building will be done in, I don't know whether to believe them or not, right? Do construction people like give you the best scenario, or are they really kind of realistic?
It's gonna be 2 weeks.
It's gonna be a year.
Yes.
But realistically, I don't know whether to believe that or not, right? If everything goes smoothly, it'll be a year. So as you can imagine, with a new building on the horizon, and a lot more expense on hand, I'm not gonna miss this opportunity to share with you the fact that we're having our annual Brat Bash on the 8th of May on Friday between 11 and 1. You can drive through the senior center parking lot and buy a freshly grilled brat or a freshly grilled hot dog. And if it's okay, if you guys have any place to post this, I have a couple of these if you want to pop them up, but it's gonna be that taste of spring, and hopefully the weather will cooperate. And then finally, as Glenn mentioned, I am retiring in June after 16 years at the senior center. And I just would like to extend my thanks to the current board and staff, as well as past boards and staff that have served in the years that I have been here, because it's been, I felt like it's been a pretty consistently relationship and always kept joint goals in mind and supporting our local older adults. They're in the process of hiring the next director, and I'm hopeful that this relationship will just continue on without any change. So thank you all. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to try and answer them.
I had a question. So is the village or is the senior center gonna have vans? Is there any talk of getting like senior center vans for transportation? Yeah, like
First thing you
vans.
said fans.
Sorry, yeah, vans, but vans, like vans that the senior center would have.
So right now, we don't have any plans to own our own transportation services. The Federal Older Americans Act grant money that supports transportation for older adults is managed by Dane County and Oregon service areas, including you guys, has we have a contract with an organization called Transit Solutions that allows us so many hours a day of access to vans. So when one of your residents needs something van wise, transportation wise, we have two options for them. If they fit within that grant purpose, so the Dane County grants main purpose is access to food, meaning they're going to prioritize getting people into the senior center for lunch. They're going to prioritize getting people to a grocery store, or they're going to prioritize getting people to the food pantry. The other things that they will do with that grant is they will take people to the library, mostly because it's right across the street from the food pantry, and they can drop people off at the food pantry and drop people off at the library. It's very, very well planned in that regard. And then they will occasionally, if they have time and room, take somebody to the bank, drop them off at the pharmacy and pick them back up in a few minutes. For people to get to medical appointments, we have RSVP, the Senior Volunteer Patrol Program, and that's volunteers taking people back and forth to medical appointments. So to get our own van service up and running would be the cost of the van, the cost of the insurance, the cost of the maintenance and upkeep, the cost of the driver, and the cost of trying to schedule all of that, you know, the additional administrative costs. And I just don't see that anytime soon. I think Oregon, the Village of Oregon has had a transportation committee for a while that's kind of looking at what could the village benefit from in terms of transportation. As sort of maybe there's a bigger pool of people who maybe aren't just seniors who could use some public transportation. So that's, I think, maybe a little more likely where that might come from.
Okay, yeah.
Any other questions? Otherwise,
Rachel, thanks very much.
thank you.
And congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to get back in and then use that senior center.
Yeah.
Wait, hope you down.
You thought they should be.
Deputy, all set?
Yes.
Well, good evening, everyone. To those who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, as far as residents and things, my name is Haley Collins. I'm a Dane County Community Deputy. I'm gonna go that spot to stand this thing over here. I am a Dane County Community Deputy, and one of many job duties that I have is that I am a liaison to a lot of the townships in the southwest portion of Dane County. I actually cover town of Oregon is one of 9 townships that I'm a liaison for. And I wanted to come tonight to give some just updated statistics and things like that. Some of the other jobs I do, it's a lot of community outreach. I do a lot of event planning and trying to build relationship between the citizens and law enforcement. I do a lot of follow-up specific to like juvenile related things. We've gotten really into school safety as of late, as well as just business and community safety in general. So that's a lot of my job, a lot of follow-up, a lot of kind of jack of all trades type of position. So it's wonderful. I love to be out in the community. But so tonight I just compiled, I was here last April and provided stats up until that point. So basically I kind of wanted to just cover all of 2025. We'll just give a whole cover of 2025 and then actually up until from January of this year until Sunday. As far as the current statistics for the township. The first page you'll see is all the calls for service, and I do realize now that service is spelled wrong. Just like Rachel's thing, creating a new game. So for 2025, total calls for service was 563 calls for service. And I just compiled kind of your top 10, the highest number of calls that you had in the town. You can read there unintentional 911 calls, a lot of traffic stops, check properties. Those can kind of be an umbrella of a variety of different things. Could be that we were checking a business or a park. Could be that we were called for something, maybe a suspicious vehicle, and by the time we got there, it wasn't there. So we changed the coding of the call to just a check property. We were just checking the area. Could be that I popped into the town hall and said hello, checking in with staff, or I'm here at a meeting. That could also be a check property. Check person, again, could be a variety of things. Maybe it's an issue with an individual in their home. Maybe it's someone, I'm checking on someone's welfare at a business. I am doing some follow-up with someone. That could also be a check person. Phone calls, safety hazards. A lot of times these are disabled vehicles also fall under a safety hazard. So it could be if we came upon a disabled vehicle, could be that it was a tree down, a power line down, something that would have been a roadway hazard. An assist citizen, I do a lot of those if I'm a car seat technician, so I install a lot of car seats. So maybe if I'm in your area installing a car seat, I would put it under an assist citizen. Maybe it's just that someone came up to us as we were driving through town and had a question. We'll pull case numbers for that sort of thing too. An assist agency, that could be that we were assisting maybe the Village of Oregon with something, or the fire department, or another Dane County entity, maybe human services, CPS, animal services, things like that. Assist ambulance, and then just a general information call. So those are your big ones, calls for service all of last year. If you go to the next page, go to citations. Oh no, I lied. Sorry. We're doing all calls for service first. I forgot the order I put these in. So calls for service from January of this year till Sunday, April 19th. Very similar as far as the types of calls that have been high for the town of Oregon. So I won't go dive into those too much. For citations for all of last year, your big ones, well, they're all related to speed, ultimately. They're all related to speed, one way or the other. It just depends on the circumstance as to why a deputy would list the citation or write them for a certain statute compared to another. Sometimes, for example, imprudent speed, maybe we didn't clock somebody on our radar, or like our squad radar, but we were pacing them or something. Maybe we would then write them for imprudent speed. Again, exceeding speed in 50, 55, and then exceeding speed zone. So that could maybe be that they were in a zone that's less than 55 miles an hour. We were citing them. If you go to the next page again, citations from beginning of the year till now. Again, a lot of the same speed. And then we had a couple of folks operating without a valid license. So they shouldn't have been on the roadway in the first place. So. Any questions about your calls for service in the town?
Is there anything on the list or anything that you run across that the town could do something about? Because I look at the list and it's all,
Yeah.
regular everyday life kind of stuff.
Yeah. We don't get a lot of these like crazy, like, oh my gosh, we have a really bad speed problem in this particular area. If we do, then we address those.
Yeah.
Either with the speed board, or we kind of try to saturate it with more deputies, more traffic enforcement deputies specifically in the areas, but nothing that comes to mind that's like, you guys really need to change XYZ in the township.
Okay.
No, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Unless you are experiencing something different that I should be made aware of.
I mean, I think the only thing that comes to mind is residents in a certain area noticing speeders on nearby roadways, but that I think has been addressed. That goes back a couple of years probably, so it's nothing current, but that's the last thing I can think of.
Yeah. When it comes to speeders, no doubt that in last year when I came, I brought a beat map with me and explained how So for example, the town of Oregon is in what we call the William IV beat for deputies. So we have deputies who are, let me pull it up. It's on our sheriff's office page somewhere. You might even be able to put beat map.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So the sheriff's office breaks down townships throughout the county. There it is, right there. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, so here you are, town of Oregon, okay? So you're broken down into this William IV beat, and that's based on 2 decades ago, maybe even 3, not by now. Based on the data that was driven by calls for service, call volume, we broke beats down like this. So for the William IV beat, which includes 5 townships, there's only 1 deputy assigned to that beat. So it could take a little bit for someone to get down to these areas. And as it relates to sometimes speed complaints that we get, it's not uncommon for, hey, I never see you down such and such road. We never see deputies down there, and there's speeders all the time. We certainly, when we're made aware of that, we try to get down there more often. But we just like to educate citizens that at the same time, the reason we might not be in your residential road and be able to sit there for 4 hours straight is because we also have 4 other townships to cover, as well as other calls for service, other needs, and things like that. So we are certainly around, and we're trying to be out and about as much as we can. It's just based on the needs of our people, based on the needs of our citizens, we might not be able to be roaming the town of Oregon multiple times a day, because we got to get up to the other areas. And no doubt, unfortunately, admittedly, town of Perry, sometimes there's not a lot of calls for service in Perry, which is wonderful. A lot of our calls are concentrated closer to Madison. And so sometimes our townships that are a little further out, we can get over there less than we want to for them too. But, yeah. Any other questions about that? Yes.
Not about this, but on social media, I sometimes see people report or talking about stuff and they'll say, call the non-emergency number. So is that something I just find on the website, the Dane County Sheriff's or the office app or something?
Yes. Yep. It can be found on the sheriff's office website. There we go.
Okay.
Yep. 255-2345.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it is an emergency, we absolutely want you to call 911.
Okay.
It's going to be dependent on your circumstance. If you feel that it's an emergency, call 911.
Sure. So that says city dispatch. Since we're a township,
Oh, I'm
would
sorry.
we be in the county? Yeah.
It's the same. That's the number that we give everybody, is the 255-2345. The city and the county are in this, our dispatcher in the same room
Okay.
at this county building.
Okay.
So
Even though they have the.
you call the 255-2345 and it's going to go to the right people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Then real quick,
And I guess piggybacking off what Carl asked about things you can do. So, and I know, again, with such a huge area, and from time to time I'll see people, I walk every single day, like down into the town park off of Glenway and stuff. But I know, and I'm sure it's been brought to your attention, issue with drugs, alcohol.
Yeah.
And I see it firsthand all the time when I'm like, is there anything we can do to be proactive or
I would certainly say if you see those things, make sure you're calling, because sometimes
by the time you get there, they're gone. So it's
sure,
what
but,
do you do?
but if we can show that there's a pattern of people calling for similar things repeatedly at the same the same location, we certainly can put more of our folks there. And if we can determine like what the pattern of time, if it's every Monday at 5 p.m. Or every weeknight, around 7 o'clock, we can have people down there to kind of monitor or maybe catch license plates.
So is it helpful for us to get license plates?
Absolutely,
or not?
yes.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. It's super helpful. That's one of the more helpful things that you can get, actually. And as long as people's registration is current and whoever it says owns a vehicle actually owns a vehicle, that can be super helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to have great witnesses in you all. The last thing I included in the packet was just a variety of different resources that we kind of accumulated that we feel is important, could be important for some citizens. So we have emergency management alerts in the app. So for example, last week when all the tornadoes were going on and bad weather, you could get alerts on your phone. There's a sheriff's office app, there's a smartphone app through American Red Cross that you could look into. The suspicious activity report, the SAR, that's through the state, and that's more so for, let's say that you are gonna be going to Lambeau in a few months, and you hear that somebody is threatening to do XYZ at Lambeau Field, or some large event at the Capitol, or at Camp Randall, or hey, at Oregon High School, I heard there's gonna be something big going on, something really bad and big going on there. Could always report it to the suspicious activity report line through the DOJ. Anyone heard of Speak Up, Speak Out? No? It's targeted more so for school-aged kids. But this is an app, and you can submit tips online or through the app or call, and it's to encourage teens, middle school teens, it could be even elementary school, to report things, and it'll be in a confidential way. So we're likely not going to know who they are if they don't put their name in it. But they can report a variety of things. Could be cyberbullying, bullying on the school bus, so-and-so at school is saying that they're going to hurt someone else at school. Someone's feeling suicidal. I mean, there's a whole variety of things that we find that the kids are reporting, and it's really being utilized in good ways. And it's ways for law enforcement and school administration to look into these tips right away to see if they're credible. And if not, we'll deal with that. If they are, we provide the proper resources and respond appropriately. On the backside, there's community maps. This is a way for you as citizens to see almost in real time some crash and citation data through the state. So you could look up what's happening up in, your family members' county and like Marathon County, or know what's going on here in Dane County, and it will give you areas in which there are crashes and citations written and stuff. So it's a really cool feature through the state. Pulse Point is an app that you can get on your phone, and if you are within a certain vicinity, if there is a pulseless non-breathing patient that comes out, so if someone's not breathing, let's say they're having a heart attack, and you are within a mile radius of where that is, you will get basically dispatched or notified along with fire and EMS and law enforcement, and you might be closer than we are, and you could have the opportunity to help save a life by starting chest compressions or something. And then Stop the Bleed, I'll go back to that in a minute, but the last two are for some sheriff's office resources. The Stop the Bleed is a really great 2-hour free course that will allow anybody, can be citizens of any kind, any age, to provide you some training with how to help save lives if someone has a major bleeding injury. And on the notes, one of the notes that I wanted to mention tonight, the Oregon School District has taken awesome steps in getting every single staff person within the school district trained in Stop the Bleed. In fact, I just did a training yesterday afternoon for all the staff at Brooklyn Elementary. They were up at the high school, and we did a Stop the Bleed training for all school staff. It's great for not only a school setting, but just it's a good life skill in general for anywhere. People can use it when you're out hunting, you're doing woodworking outside, if you're like to go mountain biking or hiking, if you come across a crash on your way home, it could certainly be beneficial for a lot of things. So the other quick things I wanted to mention, just last week, got a call about concerns of school buses, and specifically with bicyclists not following the rules of the road when it comes to passing school buses. I talked to a bus driver, and she mentioned that twice in one day, she had a bicyclist pass the school bus, and the school bus had its red flashing overhead lights on, as well as the stop arm was out and flashing. In one of the occasions, the child that was loading the bus was going to have to cross the road, and this bicyclist was coming in the opposite direction down a hill, going relatively fast, and had the bus driver not honked and made a scene and told the child to wait on the side of the road, likely that cyclist would have hit that child had the bus driver not made them aware. So just a reminder to the 5 that are here and the rest of the board. Bicyclists have to follow the same rules of the road as a vehicle, as a motor vehicle. And the fine is pretty hefty for violating a bus passing, or if you pass a bus with their lights on, it's $767 and up to 6 points. So it's really hefty. The sheriff has made a big point this year to make school bus safety very important. So we've been doing a lot more outreach and things with bus companies in the schools, and being much more open to open to communication with them and trying to work with the school districts on that. One more thing, I think. So Drug Take Back Day is coming up soon. If the national day is Saturday, the 25th. But the sheriff's office is working with the Oregon Fire Department to do a drug take back day on Thursday. It'll be from 9 to 11. So if anybody has any unused medications that they need to safely dispose of, you're welcome to come to the fire department and dispose of those, and you'll see me there if you happen to swing by. But yeah, it's a great opportunity to get those unused medications out of your cabinet, out of the possible, unsafe hands of kids and whatnot, and get them to a safe place to be disposed of. So you got those, come to the fire department on Thursday. And it's gonna be summertime, the 9 PM routine, make sure you're locking your stuff up. Don't keep valuables in your vehicle, take your garage door openers out of your vehicle if you park out in the driveway or something. Yeah, lock up your homes. I talked to a neighbor recently, not in the town of Oregon, but he's like, yeah, I left home for the weekend. I left my doors open. I was like, oh my God. Can I go lock up your house for you? So, any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
About the bicyclists blowing through school bus stop
Yes.
signs. Were both of those events at the neighborhood that may start with an R and end with Oaks? That,
Yep.
those are my neighbors.
I was told that one of the residents in your neighborhood knows this, at least one of the cyclists that did it, and we're just going to speak with them.
Okay.
So I haven't been told that a name or anything. It was kind of reported after the fact. The bus driver just kind of wanted to confirm what they thought, that, yep, it's bikes have to follow the same laws. And I said, yes, they do. And
yeah,
if we can identify the driver or the operator of that bike, then they can certainly be cited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never cited a bicycle.
Use it $767.
$767.50.
Probably too low, should be.
And that, well, they just bumped that up within the last year or so too, so. Yeah. So tell all your friends, don't be riding bikes and passing buses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Read the stop
What is
sign.
the sheriff's department's position on ATVs and UTVs on our roads out here?
That's a great question that I'm not sure on all the ins and outs on that. Do you allow them, right?
No.
Or not?
No.
Okay, well then.
Not on town roads.
Sure. Some townships have adopted ordinances for that. And if that's something that you all would be considering, I would certainly put you in contact with our marine and trail enforcement deputies, and they are the experts in all of that. If it is, we kind of get into muddy waters because if they're considered a husbandry vehicle, like an agricultural vehicle,
Yeah.
they can be on the roadway, but it needs to be going to and from the farm, right? For agricultural reasons. We can't have them going down the road to the bar and then then back home. That's not the purpose of them. It's sometimes hard, just as we are driving by, to know where they're going if we don't stop and have a conversation, which generally we don't. Unless we can see like some farm tools in the back, or they appear as though they are dirty and they're coming from the farm, or we can see them pulling out from a farm, then we trust that they're going in to the right location. Do you have specific concerns about any of that, or?
No, just a safety concern.
Okay, yeah. If they're considered a husbandry vehicle, then they can be on the roadway. But certainly, personally, I have concerns about them. Same with, had some municipalities and townships talk about like golf carts. Sometimes I consider those in the same vein as far as safety goes, and who shouldn't be on them and operating them, and what types of roads they should be on, and all that stuff. So, yeah. If you have anything specific though, I'm happy to leave you my card and you can email me and I can try to get answers for you.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
I
Yeah.
have a question, and I don't want to take up everybody's time, but on a bike trail, and you're going on Highway M towards Rona, and there's the Capital City Trail crosses Highway M, and there's the blinking lights that come on when somebody pushes the button.
Yes.
There's a stop sign on each side of M.
Okay.
What is the motorist's responsibility when that sign or those lights are blinking?
They should be stopping and yielding to the pedestrians that are gonna be crossing.
Okay, so that's just like any other pedestrian.
Like across, yep, so the yellow, yep, so the pedestrian, the flashing lights, the yellow amber lights
Mhm.
are to say, hey, you need to stop, someone's trying to cross here.
It's not yellow, it's white. Just white lights.
White lights.
When the lights are engaged, though.
Yes, yeah.
When
yeah.
lights are engaged.
Yes, yes. So someone has to push the button, the
Right.
lights will they're activated. Any vehicles approaching that crossing area then should be slowing down and stopping and yielding to those pedestrians who are going to be crossing.
Okay.
Or bikes, yes, that are gonna be crossing. But it's also the responsibility of the bicyclist and or pedestrian. You
To
go,
stop.
yes, you don't just push the button and go. I mean, you have to
Well-
push the button, stop, look, make sure the cars are slowing and stopping.
This is why I'm asking the
Sure.
question, because I've been there when they don't stop for the stop sign before they cross M. And you're coming down M at 55 miles an hour and you've got a semi behind you and the lights start blinking.
Yeah,
What do you do?
you need to try your best to slow down. Because that's what those amber lights are
Right.
for, is that there's going to be some sort of action
Right.
taking place, and in this case, it's gonna be pedestrians or bicyclists crossing. You should be yielding to them.
Okay.
Now, it's one thing if you are, let's say this row of chairs is the cross and I'm approaching and now they hit it and I don't have time to stop.
Yeah, I think that's your concern, right, Sharon?
Right.
It's something if you don't have time to stop.
Or if the bicyclist has gone and the lights are still flashing
Sure.
and you come down and they flash for,
Yeah, they do flash for a while. That's one of those, if you see someone, they've hit the button, flashing, or the lights have flashed, you've seen the pedestrian cross, right? And now we're waiting for the cycle of the lights to end.
Mhm.
You still need to be slowing down, but triple check
Okay.
that trail to make sure that no one else is coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you're saying it could go if you did ascertain. I always slow down whether the lights are on or not.
That's a great,
I know.
that's a great tip, yes.
Yeah, you have to there.
Really scary.
It is. And you never know too, depending on let's say the age of the pedestrian or the cyclist, like if they're a little and they don't know to hit the button
Yeah.
or they haven't practiced
Yeah.
out on a trail like that and they just think I can keep going.
Yeah. But
It's
that,
certainly, yes,
that-
best practice would be great to just everyone slow down.
but that has troubled me that, it's flashing and sometimes I don't see anybody as I'm approaching. And it seems, and I usually, I stop and I
Yeah.
look and look, I keep looking, but it still troubles me that it's still flashing, right? Because
You're too scared to move, yeah.
Elderly driver,
You really- you need
you
to
have
proceed
trouble
with
seeing
caution.
stuff. I
Ultimately.
mean, I have trouble seeing stuff.
Yep. Yep.
And
And if you know that is something with you that like, you know what, maybe my vision is not
right,
what
I
it used
just
to be.
really.
That's
am
good that you know that.
nervous and, or like those people on those recumbent bicycles.
Mhm.
I have seen, not in that situation, but they pull up and you don't see them if you're in a car
Right.
at a four-way stop.
Good if they had flags.
And, I mean, I was driving around the east side of Madison, my favorite place to drive, and somebody came through on a recumbent, but his wife was right behind him, and she was a little smaller and had a smaller recumbent bike,
Okay.
and I didn't see her coming. I mean, I didn't hit her, but I mean,
Right.
I was really startled that, oh my God, there's another one.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
even lower, and I can't, yeah.
I'd say rule of thumb, even like you said, if you see one bike, just assume there's two. And just kind of like with cars, if you see and hear one,
Like a deer.
just be looking for, yes, a deer, yes.
Thank you, that's really, I'll remember that,
Yeah,
just
assume there's
assume,
another.
just assume there's a whole herd.
Yes, exactly. There's a whole pile of them coming, just assume.
And the young guy behind you is honking.
Right.
And then you just let him know, in the rear view, you just.
Let him know you see him, hold on, yeah, I see him. Thank you, wonderful questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's take about a 7-minute recess. Maybe 8. I know, but we could have an hour.
I was trying to move by now. You need to leave. You need to do your part. My part.
You wanna do it? And then take a.
Yeah.
Sure.
That.
Let's do that.
This is important.
Mine's quick and brief. If you want to split Jennifer's. and mine. I mean, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so
Where
minor
to start?
correction. When I say correction, I mean totally change what I just said. Stephanie's gonna do a presentation so she can make it to
Move people over here.
a ball.
Oh, that's just my.
That's my-
My game, I have a baseball game. I didn't know we were gonna be this late. So.
You wanna talk about the,
Yep, I'll just go through the treasurer's report, which is real quick and everything's pretty much on the paper. So, but I'll be through the questions. So I just did a account balance summary and the comparison is from where we were at in December of 2024 to 2025, and that's on there. The interest rates for LGIP, and similarly throughout everywhere, but LGIP is our biggest account where we get the most interest from, where several of our accounts are from. They're listed here, but they did start off 2025 in the 4%, and they were good 5s throughout 2024, so that is quite a jump. And then now they're still declining, just so that you can see that. They're just continuing on a downward trend right now. And another thing is we did start as far as just little notes for what we've been doing in the treasurer's office is the county implemented a new tax collection software. Which we just used for the very first time this year. It did go rather smoothly. And we're kind of liking so far that the transactions are reflected on Access Dane the very next day. So it integrates immediately, well, fairly immediately overnight with Access Dane. Instead, prior, you would not be able to access your records on your own for over a month. Because we would collect for a whole month, and then after we did an upload, it would be in February or January, whatever upload it was, and then you would be able to see it. So it's kind of nice for the person who might lose their receipt or not have asked for one, and they can just go on and grab one, and they can download it, which is really nice for your accounting people if you don't want to meet accountants in person. So that has been, overall it went really well. I guess our main internal issue is how long it takes to get logged into the systems, because it's a very secure system and there's 2 of them.
I'd rather.
Like a fingerprint, we wish there was like a fingerprint option.
My blood,
Yeah.
that's trying to log in.
Yeah, so that's like an internal, like our main complaint about it, but everything else, I mean, it works pretty.
but that's the logins by design though, right? It's not broken.
It's not a sign, it's just very slow. It's 2 parts, but it's just very, very, very slow.
We have a graph of it's like a bingo chart. It's like
Oh, yeah.
B1,
A grid,
B2.
the login
3.
grid. So that's the secure part of it, but then once you do that, it just takes several minutes to just advance to the next level. So you don't really want to get logged out. If you're logged out like mid anything, the person in front of you is gonna be like, are you kidding? Don't accidentally press log out. But that's why I have, do you guys have any questions for that?
Thank you, Stephanie.
I don't know, do you want me to talk on anything in the list of this? I think so.
You go to the game.
Cold game, hopefully it's not too cold. All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the idea of like a short recess.
Okay.
And stretch, and then we'll come back, we'll come back with whatever you wanted to talk about from the earlier
Okay.
time, and then we'll go into the board reports.
Of course.
Oh. At least the chairs could be comfortable.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of these
Big ones over there.
another cushion to sit
Yeah.
on top of it.
I don't have a problem. Yeah. You look tan, have you been out
I was
there?
helping my
A
son,
little bit, yeah.
helping my son today cut down some big pine trees and I sat in the tractor all afternoon. You know, the big bucket work and stuff. But we put them where we wanted them.
Nice.
They were transplanted in 17 years ago, 18 years ago.
Wow.
Around this house,
Uh-huh.
we put up, when we built a house on one, or there was trees and where the house was. So we scooped them up and took them up and put it around this house. Yeah. An oak, a pine, an oak, and all the pines are like that. Now the oaks are growing into them. So we cut them down so the oaks could flourish.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's very cool that you were able to transplant those, you know, sometimes.
Well, they got a guy from Stoughton with a big spade.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He transplanted 9, I think.
Wow.
How many is he taking down? Just the 2?
Just the 3.
Oh, 3.
You can go, you can just first it's.
Spring. Nice oak we had there. The top break. Oh, that's gonna look. Right now, it's the most beautiful tree you ever seen. They just take off, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you think that's something for Hillcrest Park to replace the shredded wood?
That's the cynical. Okay, well, it may just opened up, you know, Friday officially, everything is, so get out there, probably be. Something, don't have food. Beginning of next week, so this week has been packed. I was in the last 2 days and they. The ones that are living.
We're over to so far.
Oh, my son and his wife went away over there.
Oh.
Like at 6 o'clock yesterday morning and just got back at 5:30 tonight and stuff. It was like, gosh, we'll probably do this. I know why mothers are young. So I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
like running ragged.
Like that. So you're out tomorrow.
Oh, my God. They're so much better.
Going to Appleton tomorrow.
It's just like, I think it's just easier when you're own,
Okay.
and they're your own, because you do your routine.
Show me dinner, supper out or something.
Probably, she probably didn't have time.
Oh, I didn't know about it.
No.
Oh, we ate quick.
That's the first time most people think we call it that candy box up there.
Because your friend.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think.
I was gonna say, there's usually something in.
Yeah.
They had it.
Okay.
It's now they're rotating it around the street.
That's what it's for.
All right.
It's for visitors.
Christensen.
I believe my name's Mike Kruchowski.
Should have him at the Trader Joe's parking lot. Have you ever been to Trader Joe's?
And,
Trader Joe's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their parking lots?
Oh, yeah.
Who are the architects that designed the parking lots?
Well, maybe.
Could you take a spot and make it into?
That was not made for
Stuff like that, so.
Oh, okay.
that was-
Because we have.
That's before every other vehicle was an SUV.
At that time, and that was their SUV.
It's one of the reasons, it's one of the reasons they all went together, huh?
One of the reasons.
Yeah.
There's some other.
The low,
reasons.
it's a low
Grants
population.
should be eligible for more
Yeah.
grants.
Where do you live then?
You would have blamed somebody.
Oh, I fixed out a little.
Oh,
Oh, Summerfield's dad.
Due season, so.
Yeah.
He was in charge of traffic.
Yeah, we live just Around Corner Road, just north of. Miles
So he had
either way.
approved them. And there, if you also look at, see.
I've been out here about 30 years now.
There's absolutely no.
Well, I've been here, Town of Oregon for
That's the-
86.
Well, you got me beat.
Joel's a seven, was it?
Well, we did spend 5 years. Town of
But there
Brooklyn.
must be a corporation because they have a tiny little parking lot in Sandra, not Scott City.
This time we go, Google early, because they make
If there's available
they
space.
make an ID card for you with a barcode.
You know, why that, how that's so small? We sold that years ago.
Question.
And it's $3 per class.
People that stand aside that are like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've never gone in there.
Sidewalking.
This is all
Yeah.
this, some.
They've got a strong body class too, that looks like weightlifting.
See, that's what I would actually like.
Yeah.
Start doing more of that.
Well, Santa's during Christmas that they have.
Tell somebody.
Oh.
Talk about, we'd always been a part of it.
That's a neat thing, bike crossing over.
Did you see her foot? She kind of had her foot, like she was like hoovering the brake. And that's what I always like do. I always hoover the brake whenever I go. And it's like, I was gonna, it's kind of seemed like.
She was showing us to do
Like,
that.
it was kind of like, she didn't say that, but it was kind of like what she was like.
Get somebody on a bike all the time, whether I'm in Madison, there's not a bike crossing that I don't stop at.
Yeah.
Whether it's,
I don't think
whether
the
it's,
purpose of it is to-
street, campus, I mean, I got a kid on campus.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah, I've got a
really,
broken,
it's really
helmet.
It's very nerve wracking.
Straight lines, he didn't,
There's some busy
he
times.
didn't send me to me, so I heard.
I might go continue
Less word packets.
at rush hour, no matter where I'm going, there's always an emergency vehicle.
Oh.
You know, like there seems to
Somebody
be
here should-
emergency vehicles between 4 and
I'm
7.
surprised.
When there's the most traffic.
Some of these girls.
Friends or something, and you're right, and you're.
But I worked with
pressed
every
for
class,
time.
right, because he's got a deadline.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's come back to order and Sharon? What did you?
I only have a real quick question.
Sure.
In 2025 or 2024.
Okay.
The town did a study, a township-wide study.
Hmm?
For
The
the
vision,
vision
the
statement.
vision plan? Yep.
Can anyone give me an actual cost of that study? What did it cost the town to do that study?
I was gonna say 17,000, but I don't know if that's right. Here, let me see if I can work my way into it. So the assistance from the UW Madison Extension was free. That was Sharon,
Okay,
Sharon Lesberg. The cost from the UW River Falls Survey Research Center was less than 2,000, I think. I'm flipping through, trying to remember if there were other costs involved. There was, printing and some of those.
The mailing.
The mailing,
Mailing.
but,
We didn't mail everyone a ballot, that was.
right.
A survey.
I guess I can't sit here, I can't come up with an exact number, but it exists.
I can look into it. I can
Yeah.
look into it, Sharon.
Okay.
You know,
No.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the.
No, no problem. I'm just curious about
Yeah.
what those kinds of procedures cost.
It was not a lot, I mean, it was,
Yeah, and I always understood the way you thought about it was we were able to take advantage of these free services or
Mhm.
relatively inexpensive from UW Extension and having the River Falls group
yeah,
compile all the
right.
survey results. So
Okay.
there was mindfulness along the way always about not. But I think you wanted to do it because you found out so we just need to
Mhm.
get the numbers.
Okay.
Common Fund just did one too, actually. I just saw theirs. And I was looking at
Okay.
their annual meeting packet.
Yeah, it was very reasonable. It was very reasonable, and when we were using a working number for a while, and maybe that's why I'm getting my 20,000, less than 20,000, it may be way less than
They
that.
board approved 20,000.
Something like
I
that.
want to say that they did.
Okay.
So I think that it kind of spread over sometimes. So
Yeah.
our
Right. Right, that's true.
Our,
It took a while.
our expenses were not necessarily all within 1 year, maybe.
Mhm.
Oh, I think that's probably true. Yeah.
We were just talking about what we're gonna do now with the results of the survey. And I think we talked a little bit and haven't come up with a final decision, but it sounds like we're leaning towards subcommittees. Here's an overreaching vision action committee, let's say. And then in the results, there were a number of items that were targeted as quick fixes or quick wins. And we'll look at those because they address the topics in the survey where residents really were looking for some kind of solution or looking for some kind of answer. And they were at the top. It wasn't top 10, but I think it was less than 10. But those are the items that seem to demand attention sooner than other things that may be further down the road.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Was that it then for your comment from before? Okay, thank you very much. All right, so let's jump back into the rest of item 8. And then Jennifer will present the clerk's report.
Okay. So, I am on page 36 of the packet, and these are the 2025 actual revenues and expenditures. I'm not going to obviously read everything. In 2025, that was the year that we had a little bump in our shared revenue, and that was due to the Wisconsin Act 12 that gave us a little bit of a $3,000 more of an increase. We're gonna see that in continual decrease in our franchise fee. This is what we receive for cable subscriptions, and as people stop getting cable and they go to different streaming options. Now the state aid, so that would go into our intergovernmental. So license and permits is where franchise fee goes. Intergovernmental revenues is where our state aid. So the state has given us some video aid to offset that. That's always subject to funding from the state. So while we get it, it always is one of those things that we always kind of are always weary of, that they could always cut to. We still are collecting money at the Torque. So I think a quick win that we always discuss at every board meeting is whether or not the board would like to, or the Torque is open on Wednesdays. That's something that came out of the vision that we continue to discuss. Something that we have probably ever since I have been here. So for a long time, 20 years, we were doing, we would do the election notices for all of and we shared in that. This year, the Village of Oregon took that over. So we would collect the money from that publication, but now the Village of Oregon is doing it. So now we will just pay them. And we have a credit card that pays us cash. And so we collect, this year we got $805 back from that for merely putting things on a credit card. So on page, see, do I have it on the next page? Probably certainly not. On page 40 will be our debt that we have. And as you can see from our debt, we had $121,000 is what we took out. That was money that we were going to be spending on in 2026 on, we always borrow for the fire capital equipment. And we had some road work and some equipment that we were going to be purchasing in 26. We have the Brooklyn building, the fire building that we are still paying on. We have the 2023 road work. And then we also had the Raven Oaks project and some equipment that we took out as well. So, we had a little bit of a surplus left over at the end of the year that will go back into, just back into our funds.
Did you flip back to a different page now, Jennifer?
We're gonna go back to page 37.
Okay.
So just kind of talks about what we are using on that, what we'll be spending our loan money on, if if anyone's interested. The $121,000 one that I talked about, it's the OPED Capital. Belleville had. It's a $10,000, can't remember if that's EMS, I think that's fire.
Or what?
Some capital, $10,000 portion of
Our
a,
share of
Yeah.
equipment.
Was that the
Yeah.
Belleville one?
yeah.
Yeah,
And then, the Torque got a new, office, and then the Public Works got a trailer.
Mhm.
The Raven Oaks road work, Marvin Lane got some gravel. The Public Works got a new office trailer. We went in and shared the cost of that was the trailer. The Public Works equipment was, I think, a share of another shared piece of equipment. There was a stump grinder, which I think that was also a shared piece of equipment. And the excavator was, I think, the update to the excavator. And we updated computers for both the office and Public Works. We got a new Badger book, and we updated the Storytown Cemetery driveway. We used some of our fund balance, and that fund balance was using the money because we borrowed the previous year. And then we used that for the OFED, the following year, we used that for the OFED capital. We had some road work that we did. We did that road striping. And we had some money in our impact fee account, and we used that this year. That was money that, when people would build a home and they would put money, it was individual people would put money in there, and we had to use it within X amount of years. We use that money towards the park equipment at Kennedy Park. Those are shared resources that we can use that money. And so that impact fee, we use that entire fund towards that. We had some 2024 expenses paid in 2025 for the capital. We had some capital building outlay for the Public Works trailer. We ended up the Belleville, that wasn't billed in, that 10,000 wasn't billed this year, so I think I'll see a bill 2026. Our building inspections, we keep seeing that increased. I think that just in the town of Oregon, we don't see a lot of new homes, but I think the homes that we have will always see some type of building inspection. Sometimes people are remodeling, they're doing things. So our building permits are always, we just generally always have a hefty amount of building permit. This year we did have a higher engineering fees, and that's at the beginning of the year. The Road and Traffic Safety Committee did road boring. That was the first time that I remember anybody doing that. We had originally in 24 had thought that we might possibly purchase a snowplow truck, but then the board decided to not do that and stay with it. So that was a little, there's a little bit of an increase in the road work for Raven Oaks. I think that just had to do with the way that the project landed. And then the Kennedy Park equipment, it ended up turning out where the way that the project was, they had to do the installation. So that project also increased a little bit more than what they had originally predicted because of the installation having to be done by the company versus, I think, us being able to install. The total indebtedness was $1,117,151.86. We have the fund balance, and all of that is reflected on page 41. If Tilly did our audit. You know, we had our fund balance used. And just some more additional information on that. So. I guess if we turn to page 41, I can just point out that the internally restricted category would be anything that we just internally restricted, or we're gonna use it for park, or we have it internally restricted. The externally restricted is the 137 or some loan funds that we still have, you know, we haven't spent yet. The 40,000 is that Lamont fund that's for the park. That held for taxing jurisdiction are just tax funds that at the end of the year, we just haven't paid out yet. And then the undesignated is what we have budgeted for to spend in our, basically our cash on hand, which we'll spend that year for. So.
Good, excellent. Any questions for Jennifer? All right, thank you very much. Right, next up in item 9, Diane.
Sure.
Park report would be great.
Okay. A lot of you have seen this before already, so it's our Parks Committee report. I don't have any financial numbers, but I do have all the things that Dave Frankson presented to the board earlier, plus some pictures that I have. Gloria is here with the Parks and Steve, and so I hope they will, if I forget anything or they want to add anything, they'll go ahead and do that. So the previous Parks and Open Space Plan was completed in 1982. And this one we worked on through 2024. It was completed at the end of 2024. And the board approval was February 25. And so
It was done in March of 2025.
it was, okay.
All your part was done. No, all your project was done. It seemed like.
Pretty much.
It seemed like it was pretty fast.
Yeah, it was fast. So thanks for feeling it. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's all right. So this is a screen grab from the last town board packet of what Dave presented. It's on page 44 of the packet if you're following. But so it was our first big expense or first big project that we did of 25, I think, was getting the play equipment refurbished. And then there were all the small things that are not in any way glamorous or interesting, but really needed to keep parks functioning the way they should. So dog waste station, it's actually listed on here twice. We only have one as far as I know, but it just goes to show we're all about the dog waste station. And this is a picture of the play equipment with this nice shiny colors on it. And then we've got the edging, the surfacing and everything. There was a composite playground structure border, playground safe mulch, a special category stuff, and then graded and seeded. It's needs to be mowed right now. I took that this morning, and so you can see how well it's growing. I should say also we've got 5 parks and 2 cemeteries we're responsible for. So Bicentennial Park, this is everything I'm showing here was in the 5-year plan. And these are the years in which it was completed. So as Carl mentioned, pretty much everything on the list was completed in 2025. We were also all about benches. We replaced a bunch of those. I improved some trail surfaces with erosion barriers from an Eagle Scout project, and some new gravel in the parking area and mulch. So there's the gravel on the cul-de-sac. Restored Prairie, they decided it was not viable, but I think based on a consultant's report that I gifted to the park that it might be. So then next page, this is Bicentennial Park things. So bench, We have these nice new composite benches. They don't have to be staked into the ground because they are heavy. These are some erosion bars that the scouts installed because there were all these rivulets coming down from all the runoff. And then this is the mulch that was actually delivered last year, and Ryan and Abel have been spreading it as they could over the winter time to cover up where the original landscape cloth was getting exposed. So. Hillcrest Park. This is Gloria's Park. We did pretty much everything we wanted to do there, and we have, as always, plans for more stuff. But this is one where the community really got involved. So we had the local people and parks people out there working on the sandbox and the playground borders and installing new borders, digging things out, installing play equipment for the toddlers, checking on a possible bee nest in the old sandbox. We spent a lot of energy on inspecting that bent swing for usability. But we decided we're not going to use it, or we're just not. Are we using it, the bent swing?
No, it's fine. We
It's fine,
decided it was
okay.
okay to use. At
Yeah,
some
it
point
is
we'll
okay to
replace it,
use
but
it.
it is fine to
It
use.
hasn't been.
Oh,
Yeah. New mulch and wood chips and pea gravel for the playground. So the next page shows the play area with all those nice composite borders, and look how pretty that sand is. Those are all installed. We don't have it spilling over into anything yet. And then the 2 trees and the bench that was donated are not shown here. But one of the trees is still alive. The other may have succumbed to some deer damage. Yeah. So Kennedy Park was our big project for this year. So we replaced the playground equipment. As you guys mentioned, it turned out to be a little more expensive than what we wanted. But Gene was really on this, Eugene Lewis, and we looked at a lot of different designs and did the best that we could. It's magnificent, really. We made a border around the playground station and installed again that playground safe mulch. Cut down 2 dead trees. There are always more. Recycling containers. I'm sure there's a dog waste station somewhere here. But you can see that these are to be done later on. And here is the picture. Where is my Kennedy Park? There it is. Yeah. So it's got this interesting shape to it. We made a shape that looks like a pentagon, but there are lots of people out there working on the border and the leveling of the playground safe mulch, and I think doing some of the assembly and disassembly on that. And so I have heard anecdotally that playground use has really increased a lot because of all this nice new equipment instead of the older becoming unsafe stuff. This is a spinner that people like to play on, and some accessible equipment for the little ones. We have. Okay, where am I? Oh, Town Park.
Yeah, and I think they just kind of got messed up, so we'll do Town Park and then probably.
Okay, sorry.
No, then probably the pictures after that.
Yeah, so Town Park, we did some benches. There's always benches. We cut down dead and hazardous trees, did some regular trail mowing, started the park shelter. So this is another Eagle Scout project, and Dave was very anxious to get this started in 2025. So it was started late in the year, and we ran into some snags with the roof, so it's still under construction. So a couple of things are for future consideration, and there's some things on the books for next year. And here's the shelter as it's going up. Half the roof is done now, and we're discussing what kind of substrate to put on the bottom and to have picnic tables. It's 18 by 24, I think. So this will be a really nice addition to the park for people to gather. It's right next to the parking lot and we have plans to make this you know, like a loading zone and or handicapped area, handicapped parking area, so people can unload their coolers. And I heard some talk at our last meeting about a grill. Maybe getting one of those things like you find in state parks and stuff that people can work with. And of course, we have a bench. We've always got a bench. To replace the old Leopold benches that were decaying. And so I just want to thank everybody on the Parks Committee, and, you know, say who they are, but Dave Frankson is our chairperson, and really it's because of his leadership that all the stuff got done this year. He's really been keeping us on task, and he's got energy that I never ever had, and he's just really stepped up, and he's in there with everything. Gloria is responsible for Hillcrest Park and Storytown Cemetery. And Dave didn't mention this in his talk, but Gloria arranged for tallgrass restoration to come to Storytown Cemetery and treat and then reseed the sloped areas next to the road so that the town crew doesn't have to mow those. And so it's going to be in native prairie plants.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Eugene Lewis, Kennedy Park and Raven Oaks Park. Gene loves to be out there doing things all the time. And I think he built the pyramids in the previous life. So he's always suggesting new and interesting fixes for things. Jeff Nelson lives right next to the town park, so he keeps a good eye on what's going on. I work with Bicentennial Park, and everybody else out there is just every construction project, every work day they have, everybody's been out there, not me, they have. But it's a really engaged group. And of course, none of this would be possible without Ryan and Abel, the town group. I put this picture this morning. And Ryan told me this morning that they've done more work for parks in this last year than they have in the whole past 15 years. Yeah, they've really gone above and beyond, so we really appreciate them. And so we thank all of you guys too, all
Thank you.
for your support.
You guys did all the work.
You guys. That's
Four of you did all the work.
Yeah, well, we thank you for your support and helping us with that.
Yep.
Any budgeting issues.
I'll just add one other thing too, but give you some credit too. We're trying to get more community involvement as well, and just things like Diane has volunteered and offered her time on some Saturday mornings and doing bird watching hikes like in town park and the trails and just like for families and putting stuff out there. And so we're talking about trying to do more activities and things too, not just improving the parks, but trying to make them more of a meeting place for the community, you know, and just get more community involvement and go, you know, come together.
Oh, that's so cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm about to launch a Facebook page for the Mount Oregon Town Park, so we can announce things like this. Like, these are the dates of all our bird hikes at Town Park. These are going to be our work days for pulling invasive species or leveling out mulch or something like that.
That's excellent.
Those are quick wins.
Yes.
Quick wins. And maybe even a noxious weed expert.
Yeah.
Are we pulling garlic mustard?
No.
Well, no, there's a statutorily required
Oh,
position.
yeah.
Noxious weed is.
Like looking up like, what is it? What does it look like? Really? I don't know. And it was like, oh, but it
It's a
is.
weird title too, like commissioner or something like that.
How are we supposed to know that?
Well,
Well, if you need one, I mean, I know what they are.
Okay.
And so we
That's, I thought I was like,
we can eradicate some of them.
we now know someone that knows something.
Surprisingly, poison ivy is not on that list.
It should be.
Oh, yeah.
Is that?
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump ahead. So item number 10, I'm gonna pull Mike into this. Has it been like a year and a half or so that you've been covering
Belleville about that, yeah. So, a couple years ago and longer, we were in a situation where the Belleville Fire and EMS District meetings were on the same night as our board meetings. And so, through Lori, I think, we were introduced to Mike, and well, and through the Torque.
Yes, sir.
So, and then Mike has been covering meetings and all the.
Well, Mike was actually, we didn't have very many that were actually in the Belleville Fire District, and Mike actually lives in the Belleville
Right.
Fire District. That
We've
was,
got
yeah.
60 people
Yeah.
in the Belleville.
And we sent letters to everybody looking for someone to volunteer. We did. We sent letters to all 60 of them looking for volunteers. Yes, we did. But
But I approached.
yeah, so then when we had no response.
Oh, you should have said we had
Like,
60 people respond.
Someone said there. Twist his
See,
arm.
that's the center. That's how you get involved in Oregon politics. You start there. And you can go anywhere after
We did
that.
some letters.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting. I've been learning a lot,
Yeah.
getting
So-
more familiar with things.
So Mike has been the eyes and ears at the Belleville meetings.
And there have been a lot of them.
There've been a lot, and so I would turn it over to you for highlights of 2025.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Mike. I'm representative for Town of Oregon at Belleville Fire and Sugar River EMS District. That's the new name.
Brand new.
And because they separated recently to different departments. And both of these departments are pretty healthy financially. They have positive balances, so that's a good, I consider that good. And they do a lot of fundraising there. They have meat raffles and fish boils and brat fries. And what they do is we approved purchase of a new ambulance for them last year. And the members of the EMS donated to pay for the upgrades to this vehicle. And it was quite a bit of money. And the members did that. It's pretty honorable. And the EMS, they bought, no, that was for the EMS bought a used chase car for the chief and assistant chief. So for faster response time, and they use them for meetings and whatnot. And the EMS for the chase car, they paid for the radios, the members paid for the radios and the lights and the wraps and the bells and whistles, and it was quite a bit of money, so. But they, like I said, they raise a lot of money, do a lot of fundraisers. And fire department is replacing a 2009 fire truck. They're getting a brand new one. I think ETA is June. And we took a few meetings analyzing the employee handbook. And it was pretty good, clear and concise, and it was approved. And the department is doing quite well. It's a pretty popular department. They have 81 employees and volunteers and a few paid employees. And it's and because of that, they were New Glarus contacted us and asked if we could get involved with this merger with them. And we met with the New Glarus mayor and the town of New Glarus back in October concerning the new EMS district, and the advantages of this new district is will be eligible for something called the innovation grants. And it's the last quote was like $500,000 they're going to try to get to support these departments, the EMS. There's a slight decrease in the tax levy, which is not, but it's like Carl said earlier, it's the value of this stuff. It's pretty is worth it. And so this came into effect, the merger was effective January 1st, and they've had, in 3 months, they've had 111 calls, and that was the 3 months, they did 50% of what they did the entire last year. So it's getting a lot more calls. And let's see.
The merger was put together really quickly.
Well, about 3 or 4 months, and then the EMS guys were working on it before we got involved.
Yeah.
I don't know how long, but it's been going on a while. But something cool, human interest from the last 3 months or recently is that the volunteers delivered a baby.
Oh.
And it was complications also.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a success.
Okay.
And another one over there, and they're going to get some recognition for it. They revived a heart attack. And it was paddles and CPR. And, so it was pretty cool. And these are just volunteers, and they call in the other people to help them, but it's pretty cool. And by the way, we're having a big their annual raffle. $20 against the 5,000. So you have to meet, they have like 15 down to 15 prizes. So it's a pretty cool raffle.
Are you and Rachel from the senior center cousins or something?
But, and also here's a QR code. Everybody wants to go ahead and apply for it. And that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, any questions for Mike about Belleville, New Glarus? All right, thank you very much.
But there is a lot happening and it's great that you can help us out.
It is excellent.
Yes, thanks.
It is excellent. All right, thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
All right, item number 11, Mr. Durnigan, Brooklyn.
Just a couple of highlights. Brooklyn is in need of a new tender truck, and Mason and I think Mike, the Brooklyn Village President, have been doing a lot of groundwork there. We've been trying to suggest staying away from new, because the present tender is not going to fall apart tomorrow, so there is time. So we're still looking at keeping it at a reasonable cost. As Glenn mentioned before, you're going to pay $800 or $1 million for a new truck, and I think they've had some quotes now. They're somewhere in the 200,000 range, so it's kind of stay tuned for that. But I mean, the biggest thing, Phil Van Kampen came last Wednesday to our meeting and gave us a presentation on the RFP between OFED and Fitchburg for a future consolidation. And as I said, there's a lot of vast territory that has to be covered that's without building 4 new stations in Oregon. I think they're looking, eventually this will be not a money saver because costs keep on going up. But eventually some of the big highlights of this is to get the communities involved. The Brooklyn Fire Department, along with, I don't know where everybody else stands on it yet, but Stoughton, Nona, Brooklyn, Town of Oregon, or Village of Oregon, McFarland, Cottage Grove. I don't know about Verona. They've been up and down with interest, so that's not on the list yet. But make a long story short, I know that Brooklyn itself was concerned. They're much different than the Oregon Fire Department. The main concern for Brooklyn is losing their identity, and part of their identity is their fire department. They're proud of what they do. They do a nice job there. And Phil did a very nice presentation, and I think at the end, the Brooklyn representatives were pretty clear and pretty happy that this was not going to dissolve their fire department. Actually, some of the highlights that he shared, Is possible opportunities for the firefighters, for example, sharing if there's a need in other departments, if something can be worked out, if we get this whole thing worked out, they can, be used at other departments as well. That comes with other problems, but they can sharing equipment, when you need a new piece of equipment. Brooklyn couldn't afford to go out and just buy another piece of equipment, but if you can share the costs and share the uses of it, that's one nice part of a consolidation. No stations will close, no personnel will be fired or laid off. There will be more of a streamlined administration as they're looking at again, coordinating or sharing the apparatus. In the long term, this is where I guess you can use the term savings. You're not going to be putting out as much for equipment if you can share it properly. So, but as a commission, we did vote to join the study. So we are part of the RFP. We will be part of the RFP as far as Brooklyn. Well, Chief mentioned that the village was picking up the cost. I'm not really sure what he meant by that. I wish I would have said something. I think the cost to Brooklyn firing the mess part of the RFP is about $6,000.
I don't know what he meant either.
Yeah, so matter of fact, I have a note to give Glenn a call tomorrow and ask him about that. Because I need to bring that back to our commission. But otherwise, the numbers are fairly small as far as the call numbers. Like all departments, the EMS fire out numbers, fire calls.
Yeah. In our portion of Brooklyn is about 20% of the per capita.
2%.
Yeah, well,
we're 1%. I think Brooklyn's 2%.
So I thought it was
No, I think it's like about 20 in
I thought it
Brookfield,
was, yeah, 2 for Belleville. So we're small.
Yeah, that's
Or you've got a population here, so.
Oh, yes.
Excellent. Any questions for Steve? No, thank you, Steve. Mr. Kai? Road and traffic safety.
We're getting close. Almost ready to go home. Anyway, road and safety. We have on the last few pages here, big part of this is to have a plan into the future. We have 54 miles of plus or minus of road. And if you start looking at getting it, having them last 25, 30 years in order to get them to do that, we almost have to be doing about 2 miles of almost complete rebuilding a year. Or the equivalent of that. So there's a lot of other steps that we want to do so that we don't get caught in that $200,000 a mile cost every year. So we are going through a maintenance plan. So every other year, 2-year cycle, 1 year there's minor projects that are mostly maintenance, which end up being crack sealing, steel coating, and we're adding into it, adding more division lines or striping for the highway. 2027 will be a major project year, and we're looking at a small section of Bellbrook, the full length of Rome Corners, Frenchtown Road, and Judd Road. All roads that have a great deal of wear and tear, and they need a lot of work. But also the coring that we did on these roads that were the highest or lowest quality and needed the most help. We're finding that there's in Rome Corners and Judd Road, that the middle is actually rather sound. And if we can take care of the edges, we can building the edges, much as we did on Netherwood Road. They called wedging, and for about third the cost, have something that is quite serviceable for quite a few years. So that's why we're able to do that. The wild card in 2027, we have had a bridge report on the culverts. These are culvert bridge. Anyway, they're a big culvert, small bridge.
Yeah.
But they're,
20 foot, right?
Pardon?
20 foot culvert.
you know, less than 20 footer.
Yeah,
The
20
60
feet, yeah.
24 foot 20 foot
20, it's
culverts.
20, yeah, it's 20.
They're in bad shape. You will see that the one on Lincoln Road and the one on Storytown Road have a 10-ton limit. 10 ton seems like a lot, except when you count that a grain truck is going to be somewhere in the 70,000-80,000 pounds. And during the harvest season, they're getting some exemptions to go up to 100,000 pounds. So 50 ton is a far cry bigger than 10 ton. So we have that in red there because we do not, we are getting support or grant in for this, and we'll be finding out whether we can be rebuilding that in 2027. Then again, 2028, we go to a minor seal coat. So we're doing an alternate to where the large project years, we need to borrow because it's a capital improvement for a long-term payback. I'm looking at getting a 20-30 year life out of that investment. Questions? This will always be a little bit fluid, but we're going to be doing the major, minor, alternating. And then it's going to be, what do we do every spring? Look again, more as to the years to come. But pretty sure 2027, this is the work that's going to happen. And 2026 is seal coating and striping. Questions?
I don't have a question, but just a thank you for the striping, because that has been like the best addition since we moved out here. And so the striping on the roads that you've done so far has been wonderful. Appreciate it. Much.
We've gotten an awful lot of positive comments like that. You will also notice that when people are confined or that they stay in their lane, they slow down. It's a very simple traffic calming device. It may not be much, but a couple miles an hour slower is very helpful.
Being a
So
tree.
thank you for enjoying the striping.
To raise my hand, being a tree hugger, I get nervous when I see that, the hills or the roads are heavily shaded. So does that mean you're going to be clearing back, edges?
No,
Stuff like
the shading stays there. Unfortunately, it holds the moisture.
Sure.
It stays wet. And we freeze and thaw in Wisconsin.
I know, yeah.
And that raises hell with the life of the road.
Yeah.
So, no, we're not cutting
all the trees though.
we're not cutting the trees, unless they, we just cleared a bunch of dead ones.
Right, I think the shade is coming from trees that are outside of the right of way. Right.
That's another thing they've been working on is reining in the violations to the right of way, which
I noticed
that
yeah.
becomes a safety hazard.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you
There
guys know more
are
than I do.
people who have been planting trees in the ditch.
Oh,
Yeah.
you can do that?
Those are when you go. They cannot do that.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
So there's clearing
Yeah.
back. We have, be surprised what's in the right of way. We have farm fields that have grown into the right of way and have moved the fences into that no longer hold the livestock that it once held in. So we've got work ahead of us.
And we keep this plan on the website. Correct?
Well, this one,
Not-
I mean,
not
this
this-
is brand new.
We still need to,
I mean,
okay,
this
so
one's
we
on the
have,
website because it's in our packet, but
but I meant, I don't know what section it's in, but.
Yeah.
The plan is there, so
Yeah.
updates will be.
talked about having kind of a more robust. Maybe once the committee kind of regroups, having a more robust right away and things like that on the website.
Any other questions for Arlen? No? All right, thank you, sir. We are. At the end, I believe. Any other questions, comments, anything? We could stick around till 9. Go on. All right, then without objection, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.